Well, what's up, guys? It's Xeno here, and welcome to the second episode, not the first, the second episode of the Hoopsters podcast. Specifically, it's called Full Court Press episode 2. Um, so this is for this episode, I'm gonna be talking about the top 25 players under 25 and their ceiling. Um, And I'm not gonna lie to you, I would ask you guys, how are you feeling today and stuff like that. But hey, don't like speaking to a brick wall, so there's no point in me doing that. So before we get started, I did want to say one player. I just want to check one player first because I don't have him on. I look like an idiot, and I guess I gotta have this guy on. Okay. Wait, I just want to check something though. Yeah. If he doesn't come on, then it's fine. It's fine. All right. So the first part of what's gonna happen today is specifically it's gonna be the players and what their rank is in the league. And then next I'm gonna be trying to talk about like what I see them in like the at the end of their potential. So what's the best version of them essentially. So what's called no matter what we do, we just start first off. Number one, I think we all know who's number one. Luka Doncic. So Luka Doncic this year kind of had a down year defensively. Like this is probably his worst defensive season, but I don't really blame it when it comes to his defensive help. It didn't really suit him to actually have a lot of help on that side. So it just magnified his weaknesses even harder than it originally is. Um, so I'm not necessarily upset about that. Like his weaknesses was just personified in on this team. Um, but we all know what Luka Doncic brings to the table. He brings probably, I would say, like a top 3 or top 4 offensive kit in the league. Yeah, top 4. You have Jokic, Steph. No, top 3. Yeah, top 3. Um, he brings like pretty much uncounterable one-on-one shot creation. I'd actually probably say he is the best shot creator in the league, maybe outside of Jokic. Um, so yeah, he's the best shot creator in the league. He's also one of the best slashers in the league and put on more weight specifically so he could bulldoze to the rim better. He can shift the opponent's body out so he can carve out like a little bit of a space to take his mid ranges because he's actually efficient as a mid range shooter. But one of his biggest issues is that he still hasn't reached the stage of being he's still a respectable 3-point shooter compared to the types of shot he takes. So like right now, it looks like his 3-point his 3-point percentage right now is 34.2% on 8.2 attempts. But look, if you watch Luka Doncic, the type of shots that he takes around the 3-point line is like some of the hardest shots, probably only contested by like peak Harden, and I won't even say peak Harden really. He just takes really bad not really bad shots, but he takes really tough shots, and that's why his 3-point percentage does look lower than it really should be. I think if I'm gonna be honest, I'd say that he's more of like a 37% shooter, but because of the tough step back threes that he likes to take, that's why his shots his 34.2 looks like the way it looks. I already told you about his mid range and his attacking the rim. He's actually one of the best guard finishers in the league at this point. One of the things he did also boost this season is that he tried to get to the line much more often. That's why it went from 7.5 to 10.5 free throws. He still has that issue. One of the biggest issues about Luka Doncic, there's actually, I would say 2. There's one of the biggest issues about Luka Doncic is that one, his 3-throw shooting has always been really mediocre. As a guard, he's a 74% career three throw shooter. Yeah, just 73.9 essentially. So 74% 3-throw shooter. And he's gone like yeah. So I mean, it got better in the year before this one when it came into the playoffs. He shot 77%. But that's always been an issue with Luka Doncic. For someone who's very talented at scoring and jump shooting in general, his three throws are very inconsistent. Like that's the only issue you could say. Playmaking, he's easily like a top three playmaker in the league. Easily finding what's called breakdowns of the defense before we even as audiences could tell. Able to drive into the lane and what's called dart basketballs to the left or right, finding open men, being able to play PNR and find the big or even find the open corner shooter. He's just really good at using his advantage when he's attacking because he's one of the few players that his offense, his scoring actually matches his playmaking. So you really can't force him to do anything on the offensive end. Like even with other people, while people have started to realize you can't do this to Jokic, but people try to force Jokic to be a scorer, which doesn't really make sense whenever I get to Jokic. I don't know when I'm ever going to talk about him, but because he's so great as a one-on-one scorer and so great as a playmaker, you really don't have a specific way of dealing with Luca. Um, Even if you want to double team him because he's one of the most talented playmakers in the league. Um, He's also a great rebounder, which to me, not much people may put stock in that, but for me, I actually put stock in rebounding because you close the possession when you're being a good rebounder, or you give your team more opportunities to get more possessions and get the ability to score. So that's actually good for his defense and his offense. I don't rate it that much to the point where it may bump someone from a bad defender to a good one, but I think that's something they should bring into context. Um, One of so to go on to his other issue, the other issue with Jokic, not Jokic, with Luca is that I'm sorry to say this, like he's so ball dominant that you have to build a team specifically around his offense because of the fact that he's not willing. I would even say he's not willing. He's unable to really um to use his off ball, whether it's him attacking the rim off a cut or trying to spot up for a 3-point shot because he hasn't leveled up his 3-point shot, catch and shoot threes. That's one of the issues. He's actually not leveled up that at all. Um, and also he just doesn't have the ability to play off ball, or I think he just doesn't have the feel like he needs to. I think next year, if he brings that up, that's now I'm gonna bring on to okay. Let me finish this part and then I'm gonna talk about his defense as well. That's one of the issues. And then his defense, as I said, one of the worst defensive seasons he's had. In fact, probably the worst. Routinely lazy, routinely not what's called missing cuts. One of the easiest blow bys in the league. Routinely getting back cut. It was just really a bad season for him defensively. What I can see for him in the future, I think that he can be really honestly one of the best. He's already doing it now, but I think he still could be one of the best offensive players, and I can see in the future because in the EuroLeague, if you didn't know, he actually won an MVP being primarily an off-ball player. So I can see him actually bringing that to the NBA. So if he's able to really remaster his off-ball play, and then also um, still be able to be that effective on ball, that allows him to actually give even more value as an offensive player because it means that you don't have to use him in one particular way while also being one of the best on-ball playmakers, distributors, even being one of the best scorers in the league. So I think he would actually be able to really start rivaling Jokic at that point in time because I think there's still a clear gap between him and Steph. Steph, and Jokic. I think Steph and Jokic are like 1 and 2, and then I think there's a gap, and then I think there is Luca. Um, Yeah, that's my only issue on offense. I think also he needs to level up his free throw shooting and his catch and shoot to really boost his off ball play, and also just have more of a motor. when it comes to being off ball. That's the other thing. On defense, I genuinely believe because of his big frame, being a 6'6" guard, is he a 6'7" guard? I genuinely believe. I'm not saying that he's gonna be able to move his feet against some of these lightning fast guards like Ja Morant, Fox, even Darius Garland or like Jalen Brunson. But I think if it's more of the the taller ones, I think he should be able to slide his feet more if he's able to come into the league, come into camp more in shape and more in frame. I understand that that kind of counteracts why he actually put on the weight, but I think that's when he was more slimmed down. I think it was better for him on the defensive end because it allowed him to actually be more mobile laterally. So that's why I think that's probably better for him. But the reason why I want that to happen is because the less of an issue he is on defense allows him to magnify his great offensive kit to the point where at that point, if he's that great and talented offensively and he's not giving back much on defense, that I think he could possibly be, I want to say like a top 50, the best player in the league is already obvious. So I'm not trying to talk about that. I'm trying to say in general. So I think that I think he could be. I actually think he could have like a top 15, 20 peak if he's able to do that in general. Um, that's my take on him. So next up, Shea Gilgis Alexander. Okay, so SGA this season, man, yo, he was a spectacular watch. Shea this season has like one of the best start and goes and like change of not only change of direct, I wouldn't say change of directions, I would say change of momentum that we've seen in the league right now. Like he can stop on a dime very fluidly and then go again. He has so many different types of ways to actually attack the rim, whether it's behind the back into a lay or being able to use his athleticism to what's called circus shop off the backboard. He's just really good at just using his unique body and frame to actually get to the rim in many different ways. And then the other thing that's so hard about Shea is that if you want to play up on his drives, he's also turned himself into one of the best mid-range shooters in the league. So he doesn't really have an issue which way you do it. You carve his path to the rim. Okay, you pull up for like a 15, 16 foot jumper. If you then try and play up for his drives, he doesn't find it hard getting through you to the rim. That's the reason why I would say that maybe outside of actually maybe outside of John Moran, I would say he's probably the best rim finisher, a guard finisher in the league. I genuinely believe so because he relentlessly attacks the rim, relentlessly. Um, what does that mean? Okay, so his issues now. One thing is Shea isn't. I don't. I think this is mainly due to his team. Shea. One thing first before I even talk about that. I think that he's not a good 3-point shooter. Like he had a down year shooting wise, and I think that's what he realized, and that's why he started focusing more on attacking the rim and attacking the mid range. So that's good on him for realizing that he's not like this year. His 3-point shot is just not falling, so he's only took like 2 a game. But the issue is also I think his playmaking needs another boost. Because if he's able to start playmaking out of those situations, because this year, I won't lie to you, I think SGA is probably one of the most doubled players in the league, just strictly due to his team composition. His team is, oh my god, like no, there's not much spacing outside of probably Isaiah Joe, and Isaiah Joe wasn't getting that much minutes for the most part. So he's really going out there with not much spacing, actually having some negative spaces like what's his name? Josh Giddey on his team, which is gonna have he's gonna have a part in this stream. So he's just dealing with a lot of issues on his team, and that's like magnifying certain parts of his scoring arsenal that is weak, which is his 3-point shooting. I think that defensively, he also has a weakness because he has the tools. He has the tools. Like I think he led the league as in blocks as a guard. And I think he has the build to actually be able to be a pesky defender as well. Um, but right now, I don't think he's reached that level of being like at least a good defender. To be fair, I genuinely believe it's just because of the amount of offensive load that he had to actually deal with. Pause. Um, because really and truly, outside of really Josh Giddey and later on Jalen Williams, really didn't have much real help around him. So having to deal with that day in and day out, I do understand. But for me, if he's able to put to lock himself in and become much more of a better defender, so I'd say like a good defender, because I think he has the ability in him to become a good defender. And I think he could become like a great, not elite playmaker. And I think if he can add on a 3-point shot. Oh, I forgot before. I actually forgot about this part. I should have reminded myself. Um, Last Sunday we talked about this, but I actually should bring it up again. Shell Gilgis Alexander quietly had the best 3-point shooting season, three throw shooting season that we've ever seen. He shot 90.5% on free throws on 11 attempts or 12 attempts. Let me see. Yeah, so he shot yeah, 11 free throws, 90.5. That is unheard of efficiency from the amount of from the volume that he had. The closest one I think is like James Harden, who's had like 13 free throws, but it's around he's usually mid 80s. Let me check for you. So yeah, so James Harden was like hovering around 10 to 11 free throws, and the closest he's ever been to this was in 2018-19 when he had 11 free throws on 87.9% free throw percentage. So yeah, that's like the peak of his three throw shooting. So and that's actually quite a huge margin difference, anyways. Um, So that's the last thing I would have to say about SGA. I think if he's able to shore up his defense and become a better defender, I think because I think he actually has the ability to become a good defender. I think he can level up his playmaking to be a great to not elite playmaker. I think I don't think he's necessarily bad off ball. I just don't think he has the team around him to really utilize it. So if he's able to do both, um, if he's able to do everything like that. Oh, whoops! I just forgot one of my partner is supposed to be here. My fault. He's gonna be here soon, guys. So give me a second. But yeah, wait 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go. All right, yo. So he's coming right now. Um, but yeah, that's all. That's all I have for Shay. To be honest with you, I think. Oh, I didn't tell you what my ceiling for Shay. I think Shay, because to be honest with you, he's in the league with Luka Doncic. I don't think he will ever be the best player in the league, but I do believe that Shay will definitely be like a superstar tier level player. I think he'll be like a top 5 player. He could at his peak, because actually right now he's really fighting for that level. I'd say he's around like 13 to 10 right now, maybe 14 to 10. Um yo, what
Yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah. Oh, wow, I'm small. Oh, Conte said he's going to be in 5 minutes. So someone's ringing his doorbell.
No problems. I just you want me to tell you a little bit about what's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Before you, how you been today?
Me? I've been
Hmm?
chilling, been chilling, been chilling.
Yeah.
But so how you doing, my guy?
2K, 2K, 2K.
Yeah, everybody in the chat, everybody I've been playing 2K. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I wanted to get this off. Um, just to tell you what's been going on, I have top 25 players under 25 and their ceiling. I'm not necessarily caring about where the who's top 25 and really more focused on like what their ceiling is and what their weaknesses is and what they can do better to become the best player, the best version of themselves. So I already talked about Luka Doncic and I already essentially said about his strengths and weaknesses, spoke about what he could be at his best, which is probably a top 15, 20 peak. I said Shea, and I talked about Shea's offensive package, would it be one of the best
How old is he now?
downhill threats. Shea's 24, I think. Be one of the best downhill threats in the league while having a great mid range. Saying that he's not a great 3-point shooter, saying that he had one of the best free throw shooting seasons in the league ever, actually having the best. Also saying that his playmaking needs to be a bit better. I think he has the upside of being actually a good defender, and I say all of that could actually allow him to become probably like a top 5 player in the league later on. I don't know about his peak yet because, to be honest with you, this is only this first season which I've already seen this.
And we still need to see playoffs too.
Yeah, that, and also I haven't seen much enough about Shea before I can give him that type of love, because at the end of the day, Shea hasn't really this is really his first season outside of the season 2 seasons ago. I can't remember the one that he got hurt for 44 games. No, not last.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to say. That's why if there's certain players and I won't be giving all time decisions about, is because I'm not sure if I'm seeing enough of them. Like for some of the offensive players, I probably won't say about them offensively, because at the end of the day, offense kind of has to be proven in the playoffs rather than defense. There's certain types of archetypes of defenders which have to be proven in the playoffs, like the Rudy Gobert type, the drop bigs. But even then, I think that could work depending on what your team composition is around the drop big.
Yeah. And me before we because me and Context, we was having a talk. I understand where Context coming about Trae Young, and the thing is like, and it's like the same thing. Like Trae Young's a better basketball player than Tyrese Halliburton, but Tyrese Halliburton play style conducive to winning. And the thing that's off about Trae Young is that he's not, because people realize he's a great basketball player, but his play style, and I understand that Luka can get away with that because he's so good. He's just such a great basketball player.
Wait, what's that? When you finish that, I'm gonna text you something in private chat. You can carry on. Just get.
I got you.
Yeah. Just speak about that after this. I'm gonna mute myself. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. About his play style and thinking about Trae Young, he's a great basketball player, but I think what is going to elevate him is his play style. If he faces his play style, because there are players that aren't better than him, but they have a play style that's more conducive to winning. But that's off on that. John Morant is one of the best young players in the league. I know I like to troll this, that, and other about him, but one of the best point guard athletes of all time already. He's one of the most bounciest point guards since like Westbrook and Derrick Rose. So he can get to the rim with effortless and ease. He's very acrobatic as well in the air. He can he has great body control as well. And he's a great playmaker. He's an underrated playmaker. I think people say I heard people say like Brunson's a better playmaker than him, but which is not true. I think John Morant's playmaking has been underrated, especially for that team. He has to deal with he doesn't have great spacing around him with JJJ and Steven Adams can be in the paint as well. Also Brandon Clark clogging the paint, and he did have Dylan Brooks on the team, so the spacing wasn't amazing. He still found ways to get downhill and get to the rim. I think the problem with John Morant and his deficiencies of Ja is obviously defense, but like what my friend Moose said, he said John Morant, he's not that strong. So like, yes, he has the athletic ability to be a good defender. Passingly, he's just not that strong or has that IQ yet. So I think that's an issue with John Morant. Another issue with Ja is semi-shot selection. Well, what I mean semi-shot selection is like how he get the shot attempts at the rim. So like he just kind of tends to go for the highlight play too much, in my opinion, instead of like he has the athletic ability to just take the layup or like to maneuver around someone like a Derrick Rose or like to draw the fouls. I think he needs, and I think he could like be one of them. He should be one of the best finishers in the league or foul baiters in the league, in my opinion. I think that's disappointing that he's not. Also, his shooting. his shooting is he not really great at mid range or the 3-point shot. So I think he just needs to be more consistent. I'm not saying he needs to be a great 3-point shooter, pull up shooter, but like respectable enough so it can be a threat. So make his driving lanes easier and it'll open up the floor for him a lot easier. So I think that's the issue with John Morant because I think his finishing ability can be he should be in my opinion the best finishing point guard in the league. The only reason he isn't because I feel like he goes for the highlight play too much and he's trying to jump over people when he doesn't have to do that. He could like be more methodical and crafty.
I actually think you
I-
you personally kind of underrate. I think that yes, his three for shooting had dipped. I think his free throw average attempts, sorry, has actually taken a jump from 7.3 to 8.1.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually taking a jump when it comes to fouls. I think yes, his efficiency has dipped. I do agree with that. But I think we're getting more people up in here. Nice. Yo, context. All right. Before I finish, let me finish what I say, and then I'll
yeah,
tell you what's
finish
going
what
on.
you're
Okay, bro?
doing.
All right. So I think that yes, that's the issue. But the thing is with John Moran, and I think you touched up on this, is that his anything that is not at the rim, he's very inefficient. He reminds me of kind of like Giannis in the sense that both of them are so elite at rim finishing, but they cannot hit anything very efficiently or even efficiently outside of the paint. That they both just don't have jumpers. And it's weirder for John Morant for not being able to have a jumper because he should be able to develop it more than he actually is right now. That's the only issue with John Morant at this point because I think as a playmaker, he's one of the best playmakers in the league. He's routinely being able to create stuff out of nothing. To be honest with you, I think that without his playmaking, I think this Grizzlies team would be even worse. Like the offense, half court offense is kind of hard to watch sometimes, but without John Morant, it would be even harder to watch. Like honestly. And you're gonna kind of see this season when it comes to John Morant being out for 25 games. You're gonna be out here wondering why the best source of offense is a Marcus Smart post up.
Also, I think another thing with Ja is, I think his free throw shooting isn't as great as I want it to be. It's like in the 70s, and he has good form, so I don't really know what's going on with his free throw shooting. It's kind of I find that kind of weird for Ja for his free throw shooting to be. If he can get it up to the 80s, he'll be even more of a threat. So he'll when he get like you said when he gets to the rim, he'll capitalize on a lot more of his and ones and you know.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me explain to you context and me what's going on. So thank you for coming through.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Our chat today is about the top 25 players under 25 and their ceiling. So mainly, you don't really need to worry about where these 25 players are in the list. I don't really care for the most part, but it's mainly about what their ceiling is and what you can actually see them being at their best. That's what I'm caring about for the most part.
All right.
Yeah. So we started off with Luka Doncic being, number one because honestly, he is definitely the best player in the league. The best under 25 player in the league.
And top 10 caliber.
Exactly. And I spoke about how I think Luka's like offensive package right now is really unmatched outside of maybe outside of Jokic and Steph. I think that he's clearly the third best offensive player in the league. I don't think there's anyone that really can argue against that. I think there's a gap between him, Steph, and Jokic, and then him. I also spoke about how his 3-throw shooting needs to be an upgrade. I think his catch and shoot threes needs to have an upgrade. I talked about how his off ball in general needs to have an upgrade. And I spoke about how he has an issue on defense. And then I spoke about what he could do to really try and upgrade that type of stuff. For example, slimming down so he's better laterally on defense, understanding why he did that in the first place, why he put on the weight, because it's easier for him to, bully young, smaller defenders. And then I went to SGA, spoke about his package of being one of the best guard finishers in the league, probably the second best guard finisher in the league, while also saying he is a great mid-ranger, saying that his 3-point shot is probably the only part of his own offense that's really kind of shaky.
Yeah.
and then saying that his three-throw shooting is probably the best three-throw shooting season that we've ever seen. Spoke about how defensively he has all the tools to be like a good defender, but hasn't reached that side of it. Said that playmaking needs to jump in general to really become like a top 5 player in the league once like all the older players are starting to fizzle out. I said I could have been number 1 because I think Luka Doncic or someone else on the list only has the ability to be number 1.
Are we
I'd
talking
say
about Ja right now?
no, we're talking about
Shay,
Shea.
Oh,
SGA.
Shay? Oh,
Yeah, SGA. So I spoke about all of that.
Was that in reference to you having him right behind Luca, or was that in reference? Are you like what was what led up to that comparison in regards to SGA? Like what brought that subject up? Is
which
that
one?
is that your
The
number
top
2 player?
5?
Is that
Yeah,
your
yeah.
number 2 player? Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So I said that's why I think he can be a top 5 player and a superstar, but I haven't really spoken about him all time. Oh, I spoke to Luka Doncic, said he could be like a top 15, top 20 player, peak the whole time.
I really wanna kind of unpack that. Just give me 1 second because I'm coming right back upstairs. I'm about to jump back onto my laptop. So I mean, continue on, and then when we jump back in, I kind of want to unpack the Luka thing and kind of like give some more nuance to it. So I'll jump right back in. I got you.
Okay. You know, one thing about Luka though. I think with Luka, I don't see the longevity right now because I don't like him like constantly being in shape, out of shape, in shape, out of shape. He has dealt with some neck injuries in his career. I'm not saying that's like prolonged. This is not gonna affect his all-time record as a player.
Talking about Luka?
Yeah, Luka. I don't see him having like a LeBron career, Kareem, like 21 years. Like, but that's hard to do for any player.
I think he could have a good 16 to 18 run. The thing is with Luka, he loves basketball. He's not athletically like that, so he's gonna have longevity regardless. He's gonna be one of them players that could play for a long time.
Yeah, because his game doesn't rely on athleticism.
And I think he bowled it up so he could add that post game to his.
I think Luka's gonna be solid. I think Luka is gonna have a great 13 years. That's why I see.
13?
Yeah.
I see a good little future out of
I don't think 13. I think you need to realize that saying good 13 years from this year onwards. No, from this year onwards, meaning that's like top 10 level. I don't think you realize how 13 years is. There's not much players in the top 10 that has 13 like good years.
I'm talking about just like in total. I was talking about in total. Okay. Not peak years. Yeah, I would say 13 peak. I was talking about just his whole career because when Luka actually started breaking down, probably going to be his, which I hope not, but his later 30s or his. That's when we're gonna see stuff change with Luka game. Hopefully his game don't change like how Harden game changed when he lost his steps and how he lost his explosiveness going to the basket and everything.
I think it's different because Luka. That's one of the difference between Harden and Luka, even though their play style can be somewhat similar. Is that Luka's like him attacking the rim has less to do with his explosive first step, as more due to skill and craft and being able to use his body.
Craft. I think it's just strength.
That's what I'm saying. But yeah,
without being like speedy, without like the speed that he got now, that strength, he ain't gonna be able to bully everybody like his later years. He's like they're gonna deter us a little bit. They're gonna deter us. That's the only thing with that I think with his strength. It's either he's gonna feel like he's gonna have to slim down, and when he slim down, he's gonna have to become more crafty, which a lot of players do struggle.
But I think with his basketball IQ and his ability to already read the defense and that stuff, I don't think that's ever going to be really an issue for him. I think it's really when his body just starts failing him. Really.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When his body start like breaking down, then he's gonna have to start changing his game a lot more.
Well, yeah, we've talked a bit enough about
Yeah,
Luka Doncic.
Luka. Yeah.
The next one is John Moran, and that's what Dev and I were speaking about. I think John
Uh,
Moran.
for me, Ja could be the best hyper athletic point guard of all time.
I can agree. I wish I could deny it, but I
I
can
think
agree.
sooner or later, which he been in the league a few years,
Mhm.
his shot will. He gonna have years that his shot look unnormal to his standards. You're gonna have years that he's shooting near league average from his standards from the 3-point line. I truly feel like that,
Mhm.
and I feel like his free throw gonna stay the same, but his actual effectiveness, he's gonna be able to get more crowd. He's gonna gain more playmaking by just playing the game of basketball.
You think so? Essentially, you're saying that his offensive IQ is just going to get better just because he's going
Yeah,
to
I think he's
be
gonna
able to
get a
read the
little bit
defense.
better. I think his situation gonna start changing, which
Hmm.
it's gonna optimize his playmaking a lot more than his game gonna fill in the blanks from there. I think in that situation that he was in
Hmm.
with Dillon, with JJJ, Steven Adams, all of them role players, I think with him playing that role, that was his role.
I
I
feel you.
think he wasn't gonna try to do nothing different than what he had to. I think if you put a cast around him, which I feel like in a few years they're gonna start moving pieces around in Memphis. They're gonna do that, and when they do, his game gonna change. But I don't see this. I don't see the long career like Russ, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
think it. I don't
I
think it
don't,
is. I think his body. I think he's gonna break down quicker than Ross because
yes,
he's
yes,
already breaking down. He's
He,
already lost a lot of time.
yeah, he
Um,
already was hurt in 2 playoffs.
yeah. But I think his actual ability of basketball and his play style would be better than Pete Russ at one point. He's gonna be better than Pete Russ at one point.
you think? I'm not necessarily sure about that. I'm sorry. I just don't think his playmaking will reach to the stage of peak Ross. I think he probably might be a
Nah,
better
his
slasher.
playmaking don't have to. I don't feel like his
I think
playmaking.
his slashing is going to become better than Ross. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
slash.
That was gonna change the tide when his
Or and the
actual
defensive players peak were and defensive peak Russ was pretty good too.
yeah. But I think the offensive game of Ja is just gonna outweigh the defense in that scenario.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, his
think
defense.
when
Yeah,
we think
it's not.
about
Yeah,
Russ, when we think about Pete Russ, the first thing coming in your mind is the
triple double.
the playmaking ability of Russ. Because that
But
peak
yeah.
was great.
It was great, but the only thing with Russ, which I have kind of actually not a Russ episode, so I shouldn't be talking about. But yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. But the thing is, for me, I still haven't really seen enough for me to really have a conversation about John Morant's offensive game all time. I think he do. I think he really could come off as one of the best guard finishes we've ever seen. And I think he's already on. To be honest with you, he's already in on pace to do that already. He's been one of the best He's been one of the best paint finishers in the league for the past 2 years already. So I don't see it ever really going down unless he loses some athleticism due to an injury. Hope that doesn't happen to him. Even if I don't like him, I would never wish injury on any player. But yeah, I think that's the best thing that could happen for him. Next player, and I think if Max was here, I know Max would be singing this guy's praises. All right, so the next player that I have, number 4, is Anthony
My
Edwards.
guy, my guy, my guy. Ant.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards. So, what's your guys' opinions on him before I start saying my shit?
I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm gonna go last.
All right.
All right. Thing with Ant Man, I see he has a lot of high potential. I don't see greatest player all time or top 10 player all time potential like that. I do see him like to be like a lesser version of Dwayne Wade. I think that's a comp because defensively he has a great. He has he already gives great effort on defense, and he has a good IQ as well, and he has
Yeah, before you,
athletic
yes.
ability as well.
Yo, what's up, guy? Yes, yo, what's up, Ken?
Oh yeah, and he has a great athletic ability as well, and size too because he's 6'5". He can guard wings, quick enough to guard guards as well. And his offensive game right now is he does need to get an in between game. I think he needs to get a mid range game to open up his offense more. He's also one of the better finishers at getting to the rim, one of the most athletic guards in the league. His 3-point shot is progressing to uply. His playmaking, he's a shooting guard, so I don't think he's going to be a great playmaker because I don't think that's going to be his role. I think he's going to be a scorer, hyperbolic. I think his ceiling is like probably leading league in scoring or being a top 5 scorer in the league. I think he'll be always be consistently up there as one of the best scorers in the league. I really do like his upside, and hopefully Minnesota can be a good destination. And I don't know if hopefully Minnesota will be the right place for him to achieve his potential because they already know how Minnesota is. And he could be wasting his years in Minnesota because like if they can't build a right team around him because Minnesota historically hasn't shown they can, and they historically known for wasting players' years, a la Kevin Garnett. So I think Ant-Man's potential is high, and hopefully Minnesota can continue to do a good job building around him, and not waste Ant-Man. So I'm gonna let y'all kind of rock out. Like I said, I don't see top 10 player, top 15 player all time because that's just high speculation. But I can't see him like a D Wade, like a lesser D Wade, and that's not a knock to Ant Man because D Wade is one of the greatest players of all time.
Mr. Guns and Buns himself, context. So we finished the John Moran conversation and we're on to Anthony Edwards. But you said you wanted to expand on Luka Doncic, so go ahead.
Oh yeah. Man, don't worry, I won't make it long, and I'll probably wrap it up. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me get this off first though. Bezing says that also, thank you, Bezing, for coming through. I think the Timberwolves will build a good team around him. Yeah, I think they actually started to. They already given him a really good drop big in Rudy Gobert, even though they overpaid for him. They also gave him one of the best wing defenders in the league already within Jaden McDaniels. So I think that's already a good pairing with him. I think they need to trade Cat because really and truly, although he gives you a lot of floor spacing, that defense is going to be really hard to patch up with Cat on the defensive end.
Agreed.
But being able to do that and then somehow finding him a pass first point guard, which I'll be honest with you, there's no real good pass first point guard. The only one I could sit down and think of is like Marcus Smart. And like, well, I don't know if you're going to be able to really get him. So that's the only thing I think they can do around him. A pass, but yeah.
Maybe like a Trey Jones from San Antonio?
No, the issue is what I want to see a pass first point guard that can defend and shoot through. That can defend and space the floor because Anthony Edwards needs spacing. Right. That's his whole thing. He needs spacing to attack the rim as efficiently as he usually does, while also probably helping him to get into his spots more effectively in it. So that's what I think. So, but go ahead, context.
Yeah. So appreciate you for having me on, man. Salute. Keep on grinding, bro. Hopefully this is gonna be a start of a dope journey for you, man. But yeah, for Luka, and I'll just run down because I know that you guys did Luka, Shea, Ja, and then you guys are up to N, right?
Yeah.
So with Luka, right? Man, you guys hit everything you guys were talking about in regards to Luka. From what I heard, you hit the nail on the head. Obviously the off ball. Here's the thing about it. The thing I think Luka has been so used to playing like this. I think it's gonna be hard for him to just turn into this magical off ball player that everybody wants him to be. I think it's going to be in very small increments. I think he can develop that. I think it's going to be just a Doge. I think it's going to be more Dirk-like in terms of where like he will operate kind of in that mid post, catch these little, you know what I mean? These repositions, try to be more of a quick attacker, like that. You get what I mean? So when he catches the ball instead of dribbling the ball out, getting a pick and roll, pulling the ball back. I think he's just gonna catch and go, catch it, one dribble, pull up, one dribble, you know what I mean, or two dribbles. But the thing about it is, if you look at his like advanced,
I think that's
stats,
something. Before you Karen, I think that's actually what they should try and do with Embiid, not the mid posting, but essentially force Embiid to be more of a quick decision maker off the catch, so that his weakness as a playmaker isn't as emphasized. But anyways, go back to what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, no, we're in the same boat on definitely. I don't know. And when we do get into Embiid, we probably will talk about it. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Embiid. Wait, is Embiid under 25? Nah, right?
No.
He's 26.
Embiid is 29, my guy.
29. Yikes. Wow. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Jokic, Embiid is Embiid and Jokic are all like 28, 29.
Right. It doesn't feel like they've been in the league that long. I mean, although it does, but like part of me like tends to forget because he was injured, things like that, blah blah. But whatever the case may be, right? So for me, I think Luka, it's weird because I think there are some good teammates that he does have. I think there was some great pickups that they had, especially with Grant Williams. I think that rookie Olivier Max Prosper is a great. I think that's his like JD McDaniels. I think he has a lot of potential, man. The defensive tangibles are there. It's just the intangibles. He have the mental makeup to be a consistent defender. I think Derek Lively is a great lob threat. I think he's an active body. I think he's probably like a younger like JaVale McGee in terms of like rangy. You know what I mean? Athletic, can run up and down the floor. Not as athletic as JaVale McGee because JaVale McGee was damn near a good athlete.
Damn near a good athlete. He was one of the best athletes in the game.
Right. No. Right. Well, so I'm saying that with tongue in cheek.
Okay.
But no, for sure. The thing about it is with Derek Lively, he might fall victim to the triple J thing that all big men do. I think the hardest position to play defensively is a big at this point. Recognizing coverages.
I think that's always been one of the. I think it was always been the hardest. I think I really want to start having a conversation on thinking what is the most valuable defensive piece outside of the small forward, power forward, and center. I actually want to have a conversation about that.
That was super dope. So with me, with Luka, the off-ball thing, to me, I just don't think the off-ball thing will ever materialize the way that we would hope for it to materialize. I think it's just going to be more so of a Dirk off-ball thing where they draw these quick hitting plays to catch them, catch them in the low post, catch them you'll hit an 8-footer, you know what I mean? Okay, or you'll throw a little floater up, you know what I mean? Quick hitting plays to make it look like it's kind of like off-ball, but he's still just
okay. So
I mean?
let me just add on to what you're saying. So essentially, what you're saying is he's not going to become an off-ball player. Right. Is that he's going to be taking his shots so quickly, or essentially getting into his offense very quickly to the point where it doesn't stagnate the offense.
There we go.
That's what you mean. Yeah. Carry on.
I know we gotta move on, but can I ask you just one question?
Go ahead.
Do you think Steph Curry off-ball movement is so great that we kind of like expect it for other players in a way? He took off-ball movement to a higher level that when we see other players off-ball movement not being as well or like as good, it's kind of like I can't think of the word I'm thinking of, but it's like
no. I would just answer the question. No, I get what you're going with, but and Xeno, I don't know if you want to chime in with that too, and probably Mo. To me, I think we've always had like good off-ball play. I mean, Dwayne Wade was a great off-ball player.
Sure.
I think
Steph just changed the game. Kobe was a great off-ball player. Jordan was a great off-ball player. LeBron ended up developing into a good off-ball player when he was in Miami.
I think he was. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he's always been a good off-ball player. I just think he was never maximized.
Cleveland.
I think it's just never was maximized. Yeah, because I don't think it wasn't maximized because he never had a playmaker on his team that was nearly as good as him to actually put the ball in their hands so he can actually abuse his off-ball talent. But carry on.
Yeah. Especially like you saw especially when he finally got like Mo Williams. They used to run these actions where Mo would be on the other side and LeBron would cut through the lane, but it would be a delayed cut. it will be like not even it wouldn't even be like a V cut. It would be like a 4-5 cut, but it's delayed, and it will kind of be like he's trailing Mo, and Mo would just drop it off him, and it'll just be an easy dunk. And that's when I saw like, oh yeah, like his off-ball awareness is there. He just doesn't trust. He doesn't have someone that he trusts. And I think it's the same thing with Luka, right? It's that's why you see Luka plays different with Slovenia, even though it's kind of the same style. But he gets off the pill a little bit more with Slovenia because it's a trust factor thing, right? A lot of players, especially guys that have ball handlers that are capable scorers and things like that, when they trust the players and they trust the players around them, they will change their game. Same thing like I feel like with who's a great example? Like I think Kobe, once he realized he had someone that understood him. If you notice, remember when he went back to the NBA Finals with Paul Gasol and Jordan Farmer and all those guys, like he was starting to trust these guys a little bit more, and you start to see more of Kobe off the ball, relying on his, you know what I mean? Setting up the offense on the block, things of that nature, quick hitting plays. It's just a trust factor to know that you guys are looking at the same play the same exact way. It's sort of like a quarterback trusting his wide receiver, right? Aaron Rodgers, he had so many issues. He would throw the ball away. Sorry, as you know, not to give a football reference, but it's just that connectivity and that trust factor where I don't even need to look where you are. I know you're going to be there, and I know I'm going to put it in the right spot for you. Look at Lonzo with Zion. Lonzo with Zion versus CJ McCollum with Zion, totally two different players. Totally two different players. You know what I mean?
But I also would say that the reason why is because of, well, I guess that's what you're trying to get to. You're trying to get to the talent around him, or the people that allows him to get into to unlock certain parts of his game.
There we go.
Because Lonzo is able to unlock a part of his game because of how talented of a transition playmaker he is, and even though he's not as good as a half court playmaker, he's still able to see breakdowns in the defense. It's just that his half court shot operation himself isn't that great. That's why he's not a great playmaker.
Oh yeah, and we're definitely gonna get to that because I definitely want to chop that up with you about it. So just to move on for Luka, but I'm with you. I think Luka, sky's the limit, Hall of Famer. I see an MVP in his near future.
I see three.
Yeah. You see three.
This bro thinks he's Larry Bird. I'm crying.
Three is crazy.
He's 9 in a row.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you're talking about probably throughout his career. I can see three the most. I can see realistically for me. I think he's gonna get two. I think he's gonna get.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah. Those MVP stuff I don't really care about because at the end of the day, some people can just get screwed over by narratives. Like Jokic, as much as a Philly fan, you literally look at what my face is. I am literally a Philly fan right now.
Right.
And I know that Jokic. I think that Jokic could have actually been the MVP this year. So I don't really have a care about that.
That's a fair point. But just to add, we're just giving some substance to like what in terms of the potential that we see from him. So just to give it, like, you know what I mean, like
I get what you're saying, bro.
Yeah. But no, I get your point. I get in the grand scheme of things, it's really frivolous because it's narrative based, right? So and then
on to
Shay, right?
Now no, we finished Shay and John
and Ja. Also, you guys are up to Ant, right? Oh yeah, so yeah,
your turn.
Oh yeah, so you guys already talked about Ant, right?
Yeah.
So for me,
I'm waiting on you.
Yeah. Ant is a to me the potential. This guy is going to be a top 5 player in 2 years. Top 5 player in 2 years. I think barring any injury, he's going to end up being probably the 4th best shooting guard of all time. I think it will be obviously MJ, Kobe, Dwayne Wade, and then Ant will follow. I think
Ant will be below James Harden, so respect that.
No, he will not. No,
why is that cat out in my house?
Respect hard goat, please. Thank you.
He will not.
It's a big cat.
I'm gonna tell you why. In my opinion, right?
I already disagree with this, but carry on.
No. I'm gonna tell you why, and we could go probably a little bit back and forth about it. But in my opinion, the reason why I feel like the defensive factor, I think the unlocked potential that Anthony Edwards will show, defensively will change your mind eventually. I think the fact that James Harden had so much inflation with his free throws, the system that he was in. I think in retrospect, when we really look at it, I think Anthony, in terms of his degree of difficulty with his 3-level scoring versus the fact that it was pretty much threes and layups, I think Anthony Edwards will develop that mid-range that will make him unstoppable.
I think he's actually slowly developing it right now. I actually think his season, it was kind of decent.
Yes.
Just to cut you off for a second, though. Hot take, he won't win MVP. That's what he talked about, Luka Doncic. I personally think like it's kind of hard for him not to, because when the older players are starting to evaporate, it's really going to be hard to deny Luka MVP. I'm going to be real honest with you, unless Dallas
Wemby just goes crazy.
Oh no, unless Dallas doesn't put competent teammates around him, that's the only way I can see that. But go ahead, guys.
Yeah. If he's a top 4, if he's like in the top 4, top 5, as far as seeding and the numbers that he's putting up, he's going to be like front running, winning, things of that nature, right? So back to Ant though. I think unfortunately, and it's kind of unfortunate because I love James Harden game. But I loved it to a degree.
He doesn't. He should lie to us.
No. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you how it evolved and devolved for me, right? I believe the best version that I saw of James Harden, in my opinion, was more so his last year in OKC and his first 2 years in Houston. I think once Mike D'Antoni got to
you want that on people? No way. No.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because I felt like once it turned into 3 and layup Harden, I felt like he regressed as a player. I think he regressed as a player. Don't get me wrong. Great numbers.
I'm gonna talk to you about that later.
No. But my thing is it was literally 3 and layup. Now I get what you guys are saying. If you have the layup and you go and if you can dominate the 3 and layup, why not, right? And then on top of that too, the playmaking is there. However, to me, if we're talking about complete player, right? And I have to look at you as a top tier scorer, I have to include all 3 levels. It would be disingenuous for me to say throughout all the time when he's going 3 or layup that he is the best scorer. I can't say that because your mid-range was non-existent. And then on top of that, when you went back to it, it was up and down. Your shooting in Philly is still up and down. Your mid-range is not great. Your 3-pointer, don't get me wrong, shot well this year in Philly, right? But if he's shooting bad in threes and you have no lift on your layup, now what happens, right? What happens? So to me, I feel like he did a disservice to himself.
By cutting out the mid-range, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think he did a disservice to himself. And I think especially in the playoffs, I think Ant will shine more because of that extra level of scoring that he has. And to be fair, I think Ant is not. I think Ant is going to actually be able to save his athleticism because if you notice, versus with Ja, I know you guys were all talking about it. Ja's trying to punch everything. He is trying to play like D Rose, and that is going to be a detriment to his career. I hope he decides not to play like that. I think Ant already figured it out. I don't need to dunk on everything. He's already had in his first 2 years so many highlights, right? Of him dunking and punching on anything. We know he could do that already, right? But I think he already decided, I can do that. I can. Why not just Euro? Why not just Euro around you? And that's why I think he is even embarking on a new way of playing because he's not relying on his athleticism. He's really trying to focus on skillful scoring. No, I'm talking about he's really relying on skill and developing that skill, right? You see that he's working on his shooting. He's working on his 1 dribble pull-up. He's working on his 2 dribble pull-up. He's working on his, instead of trying to climb over guys, I'm gonna yaw around you. I'm gonna play underneath the rim, right? And he has.
I think that's one of the best things about Ant is when he's attacking the rim, you can really see that he has multiple ways of attacking it. Not like John doesn't, but you can also see that he really
There's an
knows
intent.
when to mask his
Yes.
steps. Like if he's gonna take
the
a
thing
too long
is, he know how to
stride.
slow his game. He know how to slow it down. He know how to go around you, over
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
and above you. Like
Yeah.
that nigga, he know how to do that.
And don't get me
That's one
wrong,
thing.
right?
Beezing, let me
He
get
can
this off.
slow.
Yeah, of
Beezing,
course, of course.
Beezing says, "Yup, Wemby and Dallas don't good with." I don't know what he means to.
Not doing good. With Luka.
Oh, I think he means to do with if Dallas actually put the competent team around him. I don't know about the Wemby part. I really don't know about the Wemby part. Okay.
I do have I know we stand on Ant. So, what do you think is the most optimal situation for Ant-Man if you was been around him?
Can we not first talk about his actual offensive and defensive kit, because we didn't necessarily actually get into it.
Yeah.
Because context kind of spoke about it, but not everything.
Yeah, so let me wrap that up, and then we could go around the panel. So yeah, to me, the defensive potential, I think he can be all team, and that's where I feel like he's going to make his mark. He's going to make an all defensive team. So imagine you have an all NBA player and an all defensive player in the same year, and you do that consecutively for, let's say, let's give him 5 years of doing that. To me, I mean, 5 years could be a lot, but I'm saying 5 years.
I'm not tripping about the years. I'm talking about the thing is with Ant is the effort. He got everything else. The thing is with Ant is the effort. He could be one of the best shot blocking
guards
known to mankind, but it's about effort.
I agree, and that's where I think he has the dog in him.
And right now, he's one of the best help side non-bigs.
Yep. Getting stuff off the side, coming off baseline, chase down. If he gets beat, he has the ability to recover, and that's the great thing about the fact that he's not overextending his athleticism on the offensive side, right? That's why I think where it's gonna be a tick above James Harden. I think James Harden puts so much energy and so much effort. Dribble. Hezzy, speed boost, layup. That is so exhausting to play in that style. I think Ant gets easy buckets, one dribble pull up, boom. I didn't waste that much effort. You get what I'm saying? Like I can elevate and shoot over guys.
So you're essentially saying the ability to have his own shot creation like James Harden is, while adding on to the fact that he's just going to be a better off-ball playmaker.
Yeah.
You think that's what's going to be able to drive him? Oh, also the combination of him being probably one of the best defensive guards that we might see in his position. That is why he's going to be above James Harden. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Mu, have you gone? I know Dev has gone off, so it's Mu, it's your turn, right?
It's all you, Mu.
Yeah, Mu's not here yet. So for me,
so yeah. But yeah. Well, I would love to hear your counter to the James Harden thing.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I
see talk about that one later. We could talk about that one later. But
yes.
And like I said, he could be one of the best help side guards in the league. He could be a top 3 player in the league. Like I see that in the years coming, he could be a top 3 player in the league with his defensive. The only thing with Ant is his defensive effort. If he actually showed that effort, he could probably be top 2 in the league at one point. He could
I actually think, Mu, I think when I said that Shea is never going to be the best player in the league because he's behind Luka Doncic or another player in this list. I think that Anthony Edwards is the only other player that has the ability to be better than not Shea, better than Luka. I think he's the only other player.
I think the only thing
now you talking.
The only thing with that is Luka offensive output. That's the only thing. I really hope he could, but the thing is, like I said, the offensive output that that Luka brings is different. It's one of the biggest offensive outputs, especially from a guard standpoint. But and like I said, he can make a defensive team. He can make a defensive team probably 2 years.
Do you think when you felt that I know you're gonna go off. Do you think when Luka Doncic finishes his career, where are you gonna rank him in? Because he's kind of played shooting guard and point guard, but he also is built like a small forward. So do you think
I rank him as a guard. He came in as a guard. I'm ranking him as a point guard.
Yeah, I'm ranking him as a guard. I'm ranking him as a guard.
I rank him as a.
I mean, the reason I was asking that because he's played shooting guard, he's played point guard, and I think, but he's kind of built like a small forward too. Yeah. So that's why I was asking: is what you going to rank him as later down the line, a point guard or a shooting guard specifically? Because I know no one's going to put him as a small forward. Okay.
But anywho, my nigga Ant, man, he could be better than D Wade, man. He could be better than D Wade, man.
That means you got potential. You got him right behind Kobe.
Glaze.
D Wade is kind of.
You got him behind Kobe,
bro. I think D Wade could. I think Ant could do the same type of shit that D Wade could do. The only thing that I see D Wade really got him on is the transition play. Like he's a hell of a transition player that D Wade is.
Maybe slightly quicker, and just maybe slightly quicker.
He is
slightly quicker.
He's quicker, but I think Ant's smarter. That's the thing. I think Ant's smarter than him. I think Ant know how to stop and slow down his game whenever he needs to, especially at the rim. I'm talking about like at the rim.
I think D Wade is in the same bracket too. I think
he is. Yeah. He's one of the smartest players in the game of basketball.
Do you think he's able to reach that stage of being able to slow down the game faster than D Wade did? Is that what you're saying? Do you think
that's what you're
comparing them at the same age?
Yes.
Okay, you're comparing at the same age. All right, cool.
Yeah, because by the time if you're going about it from that aspect, I see what you mean. The only thing, and I would also say too, because I think Ant is the better athlete, obviously. But D Wade, man, that's the thing about it. D Wade definitely put effort on defense. Like
I think peak.
He's saying actually put in another question. He said, "You think Ant could have a better peak defensive?"
Yes, that's what I was about to say. I think.
Oh wow!
Especially as a player, I think as a player he could peak higher than D Wade. And defensively, him as he could be a very good chaser. Or a very good helper on the sidelines. He could be, and he could guard probably the best assignments in the game of basketball. With that meshed up together.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
What you was about to say?
I was gonna add on. Do you think
all that meshed together?
Go ahead. I won't say anything from now. Don't worry.
Damn, bro. I said. With all that meshed together, he could be peak-wise a better defender than D Wade.
Okay, so I was gonna add on. Do you think it has to do with his build and his quick? Even though that his build is like he's supposed to be kind of a stocky 6'6" guard, he's able to also move very laterally quick. So he's not he can guard his own position very well while also not getting switched onto and being bullied as much. Is that why you think he can really be better defensively as a Wade?
That I think that's part of the reason. But what I see this nigga being like a top like help side defender as a non-big,
it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary.
I see highly of that. I see highly of that. That's the thing that you could build around on defensively. Like that's the scheme. Like I really like that out of him.
That he ends up. So in your mind, do you feel like he ends up turning into a great, like a good lockdown guy, or do you see him that he turns into like an elite roamer that can still lock up, but his best attribute being like,
the thing is, peak, he could be both. That's
Okay.
that's the thing that scares me about him. Peak, I think in 1 year he could be one of the best help side non-bigs in the league while being one of the best POAs in the league.
Yeah, that's what, and that's where I am with it, Xeno. I think his defensive potential, it can equate. I won't say it's gonna be just as good, but it's gonna be just as close. His defensive potential is just as close as his offensive potential. And I think we never said the same thing about James Harden.
What about his playmaking? Because I see that both of you never really touched up on his playmaking. So what's your opinion on that?
Go first, Mo.
For his playmaking, that's why I think peak wise he could also be better than D Wade. I think the level of playmaking that D Wade was, he was a hell of a smart player. He was a hell of a smart player, especially as a shooting guard.
Right.
But even if it's not, it wouldn't be better than his. It could be close to it. It could be very close to it. Because I do see the playmaking improving this year. I really see it, but I don't. I need to see it in a real game, bro. That's the only thing.
What you think, Dev?
For me, I think that would probably be the weakest part of his game, but I think it's gonna. I don't think he's gonna be bad at it. I just think that he's gonna be such a good scorer. Is and then we kind of forget about his playmaking versus D Wade. It was more of a asset for his role. I think with Ant-Man role, he's always gonna be a scoring defender, like a two-way player. I think that's for him to win. I think he needs to be the scorer for him, like the win games. I don't like not saying he can't be a primary playmaker. I think more like how kind of like Kobe and MJ was like kind of like that. I'm not saying he'll be like those players, but that's why I see an Ant-Man because I think for him when he does win championship MVPs, it won't be like a D Wade style, like him dishing out, passing the ball. I just think he's so good at it. He's so good that the team built around him will realize, hey, this guy needs to be our bucket getter, not no one else.
Fair point. And I guess the playmaking from that aspect would just come from more so scoring gravity, the guys in, things of that nature. Got you.
His playmaking is gonna be scoring gravity.
So he will be. He will. I think, and I'm with you guys. I think, especially with Moo, I think he could definitely make those passes. I don't think it's an issue that he has a hard time making the passes. I think it's a trust issue thing too.
Yeah.
I think the roster construction doesn't allow him to kind of maximize those reads because the reads are tighter. The paint is a little bit clogged. He doesn't have appropriate shooting around him, so it's like very spotty. So I think that the playmaking is gonna just come with is more so roster construction and just experience. But I agree with Dev. I think it's more so that his scoring is gonna be so impactful that they're going to have to, just like you said, Xeno, put someone that's a playmaker to complement him to take care of everybody else, because his scoring and the gravity and the pressure, and there is it's a hard thing to. It's not. I can't equate it to any number, right? There is a I can't say aura. I don't want to use aura when it comes to it, right? But there is a certain ferocity that he plays with, and a certain like when he's clicking, I'm looking at the players that have to guard him. They look helpless. There's only but a few players when that happens that they look helpless. Luke is one of them. Shay's one of. When I'm looking at it, they're like, wow, this guy is dog, and we can't do nothing about it. And the play, I'm not saying like it's a fear, but it's like, wow, like you could when JT scores, I get that in flashes compared to Ant. I get it more consistently with Ant, where the players are like, oh man, seriously, bro. Like I watched Austin Reeves pray to God when Dame finally missed the shot. Like when that type of score, you know what I mean? Like that type of scoring prowess where it makes the players feel defeated, like the opponents feel defeated. When they hit that shot, like, oh man. And he hits that first shot, oh, it's gonna be a long day for us. like that type of scoring, and it could deflate a team. You know what I mean? Like Steph deflates a team. To a certain extent. I mean, Devin Booker when he had case in point, Devin Booker missed 4 shots at one point, right? Was there any point at your time where it's like, it feels devastating when he's scoring? When Devin Booker scores, do you feel like it's imposing?
I think he did. I think I'm not gonna lie. This season, I think it was
This
kind
was
of.
the season where you
I
felt
think,
it, right?
yeah. But I think this is also kind of tough because this is the same season where like it felt imposing that Jokic was scoring. But yeah,
yes. Thank you, Xeno. Thank you. I think Ant is showing those flashes, but I think the NBA is already scared. You saw in the practice, Triple J, if I'm a young fella, right? I just won DPOY and Ant's talking hot, and we competing, I'm jumping with you. You know what I'm saying? Like Alonzo Mourning, right? Remember he got posterized by Vince Carter?
Yeah.
That's what a DPOY or a guy that he's a rim protector, that's what he does. But in Darren Jackson, I think he's scared when he sees Ant. I think when we watch him against the Grizzlies, we're gonna see a whole bunch. Yeah, when the T-Wolves go against the Grizzlies.
You said Grizzlies. I heard Grizzlies.
No, Grizzlies. Whoa,
I'm being a troll.
But no. You if you get what I'm saying, right? Like, in terms of like that scoring, it's like a bull in a china shop, and then he goes from in terms of like the impact, but he's doing it very skillfully on top of that too. Well, with Shea, is just so much craftiness. It's like, wow, like I did not expect him to give us 30 like this. You know what I mean? But with Ant is like, yeah, we feel this 30. You know what I'm saying? We feel it.
Do y'all?
With Ant?
No, it's talking with other players. Like other players?
Yeah.
Like you could not saying it don't got no impact.
I feel it with Luka. Pause. I feel it with Luka. Pause. SGA, it's more so. He gives me those silent 30s. It's like, yo, damn, he got 30. How you get 30? It's like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I see what you mean.
Yeah. Like I look in the playoffs this year. Like you know that nigga was scoring.
Yes.
I see what you mean.
His presence in that room. Like when Giannis scores, you feel his presence.
Yes.
Like when Jimmy Butler scored, you don't really feel it. It's like, dang, he had 30. When he get this, like, except when he's like going off, like,
right. It has to be these out of the world moments where you're like, wow, like what's going on tonight with Jimmy? Like, but you don't really feel. I mean, in Chicago, even though he was a better scorer. I mean, in my opinion, I think he was a better scorer in Chicago. It wasn't those things where I ever felt his presence as a scorer. I was just wow, like he's having a great night. You know what I'm saying? DeMar DeRozan, great night. You know what I mean? Not really imposing. Like it doesn't. Like he has a 50 ball, but it didn't feel like like you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like wow, like he put up a 50 ball. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think I'm not gonna lie to you. I let you guys have too much of a fun talking about Anthony Edwards. We're only four players through when we have 21 more to go.
Yeah, fast. Yeah, we're winning.
So next time is Trae Young. What's your guys' opinion on Trae Young?
Dev, you can start it off.
Yeah, Dev.
Okay. I already talked about it. I think with him is the play style. I think his peak is one of the best playmakers in the league. Honestly, I think if he changes his play style, I think the playmaking is always going to be there. He'll always be one of the best passers and playmakers. It's just him as being an efficient scorer. I don't think he's ever going to be he's never going to be a defender. We'll get that out the way. We'll just talk about his offensive game. Yeah. And I think he's a good floor raiser. What I mean by floor raiser, like he can get the teams to a playoff. He's probably not going to be a ceiling raiser. So what I mean by floor raiser, like this year he had a down year efficiently, but yet he still made the playoffs, and he can still be a go-to guy to give you a big bucket in the clutch and this, that, and the other. And like what Moose said, he could be like a number 2 or a 1A, 1B, where like like what Moose said, have like a Jaylen Brown. He doesn't have to be a better scorer than Trae Young, but with his playmaking ability, like Trae Young playmaking ability, if you have someone that can score really good, they'll be able to score better next to Trae Young because his playmaking little gravity he has, like a JB or like a maybe like a I'm trying to think of someone else that's a good scorer, like a Mikal Bridges, maybe. I don't know. I'm just naming players off the limb.
No,
But
that's a fair point.
but realistically, I do understand. I think it's just like Harden. He has a Harden-esque play style when he's not as good as James Harden, and that turns people off. And I understand that because it's a lot of, and I think that's due to the situation. I think the Hawks kind of set him up like that. I think because our teams were so bad in the beginning of his career, even when we made it to the conference finals in the 2021, it wasn't like a great. That was like, let's be honest, y'all was surprised when the Hawks beat Philly. Y'all can be honest.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It's not a great team, and like I think I think it's a Atlanta thing too. I think it's our problem too. I think we're just Trae Young reliant versus if he was on any other team, they won't be so Trae reliant. So I think it's his issue and also it's our issue as well for being so Trae reliant because like because if you look at him, look how Atlanta does. It's Trae Young or bust because when he's off the floor, our team is going to shambles. So it's like, and you can't just win like that, having like being so reliant on like especially a smaller guard. And I think that's why the issue that led to Trae Young to be the player he kind of is as well. It's him, and I think that the Hawks not doing a good job building around him or like knowing what he actually is. They're just trying to find a direction because like Trae Young's the best player since Dominique Wilkins, and like he's a superstar player, so it's like they don't know how to use it. Even with Dominique Wilkins back in the day, they just always been the Hawks. They just been reliant on that one star player like Dominique Wilkins, and then doing history with Trae Young because they're both great players, but you know.
All right, so to get my thought off of it, because I'm trying to do it as fast as possible. Trae Young is one of the premier playmakers and offensive players to be in the league. His combination of scoring and playmaking, strictly his playmaking at being one of the probably 5 best playmakers in the league, while also having a very consistent 3-point shot with also actually being able to draw a lot of fouls. So that actually helps his efficiency while also being somewhat of a decent, I would say she's actually a good mid-range shooter. I think the only issue with Trae Young's offense is mainly his attacking the rim. That's just due to his size, his frame, not necessarily being a very quick point guard. He's actually using a lot of skill and hesitations to really get past his defenders because he's having to use that's because he's not particularly super quick. And I think that's the issue. I think no, he's not when we say quick, we don't sit here and think that he's Ja Morant quick. He's not Fox quick. He's quick, yes, but that's usually a characteristic of a 6'1" point guard.
Right.
But
and also due to his handle, I'll give you that.
I want to say I don't think his handle is weak at all. I think his handle is really good. I just don't think he's able to put on the the jet like Ja Morant.
No, I'm saying he's quick because of his handle. Like his handle helps him out.
Oh, okay. But yeah, and then so that's my opinion on him offensively. I think he also falls in the Luka category of not being great off ball. I think it's gonna be different for him because he has a secondary piece next to him that both Luka and him has a secondary piece next to him that allows them to now try and play more off ball and work on that part of the game. So actually, to be honest with you, he has certain things that are quite similar to John and to Luka, where he needs to work on his off ball play. I also think that he has the same issues as Luka on the defensive end, but the difference is I just don't see it being as good as Luka. I don't think he's ever going to be a decent defender. I think he's always going to be a negative. I think he's this season is probably his best defensive season because he put a much more effort into it, especially when the new coach came in. I see him becoming like a strong, I want to say not strong, like a clear negative. I want to say to the point where it very damages his offensive ability. But I think he won't be the worst defensive guard or player in the league with a lot of minutes.
Right.
I think you'll be able to shore up that defense once he put more effort and actually get better defensive IQ. But I don't think it's going to be because of his frame, and that's pretty much it. So to TLDR, I think he's gonna really reach like a top 10 player in the league once the older players kind of fizzle out.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna have him top 5. I haven't really thought about it. His offense kind of is shaky when it gets to the playoffs, but that's once again due to his size. I think that he's gonna need to be used as a secondary offensive piece, secondary scoring option, and primary playmaker to really maximize him, because that allows him to focus more on orchestrating the offense for his team, and then when it's time for him to really start ramping up the scoring aggression, he's able to do so. So I think that's probably his best way of using it. That's why the last time we had this conversation, I was thinking about someone like Jaylen Brown. That's why Dev brought it up, because Jaylen Brown, you can force him into being a number one scoring option, because it's called Trey, being one of the best playmakers in the league, can actually force feed him into positions that he's really good in. Yeah,
especially with his ability to off ball cut, great slashing, finds the pocket in the zone, can still rise up and hit the catch one dribble pull up.
Are you talking about JB, right?
Jaylen Brown, like that's a great compliment. I think that would be a great compliment. But yeah,
also Jaylen Brown being one of the best transition players as well, and Trey is not as shy to make those transition plays too.
Fair point.
But yeah, now I finished my part. What's yours?
Moo, it's on you, gang.
My guy Trey. I'm not really high on him, but I do like his play style. I do think he could be maximized with the ball mostly in his hand as a playmaker, like Xeno said, like I was talking about, or I don't like. Also, how he said, I don't think he should be the number one scorer. I think he should be the number one option, but not the number one scorer when coming into the just in the league. I don't think he should be a number one option.
And he should run the offense, but he shouldn't be the primary.
Yes, he should be the playmaker, primary playmaker, regardless. And unless you get him a player that you could find his spots that could come off, that maybe could handle the ball a little bit, which I would like to see also, that could get to his spots effectively. I was thinking like a Zach LaVine also.
I don't know. I don't know about Zach LaVine, because the reason why I said who I said is because I don't trust Trae Young as your primary scoring option, and I just don't see Zach LaVine being.
I think Zach could be a.
I don't think so. I don't think he creates enough in the mid range to really be that.
So for me, I'm on the fence about it with Trey too. I think Trey's going to be a top 10 player for sure. Offensively, he's a great talent. Still able to find, create. I mean, it's the tough shot making, ability to shoot from deep. Even though it is a little bit inconsistent here and there, it's very spotty. He's very streaky. However, sometimes when he's on, right. And he's able to pull the defense and stretch the defense out. But at the same token, in my opinion, I'm with all of you guys. I think he has to either have someone like I think the best maximized situation for him would be on the Pelicans. I think that would be a great situation for him. Paired with Herbert Jones, Trey Murphy, he has shooters, he has defenders, he has a constant rim threat, a lob threat with Zion, who can also play make himself, kind of drive and kick, things of that nature, collapse the defense and get
interesting. He says Zion Williamson, by the way. Carry on.
Right. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna beat those Mariah Mills allegations, man. I think
I hope so, man.
That is not why I said that, but carry on.
You know it's nasty context.
Hold on, whoa, so hold on there. Let's not deviate. But the thing about it is, I think Brandon Ingram would be that great piece. I love the Jaylen Brown pick too, but I think Brandon Ingram gives him someone who also can command a double team, right? When he's hot and clicking, or not really command a double team, but more so command some shading. You know what I mean? It will open up the options for a Trey to kind of drive out. I mean, on some closeouts, you know what I mean? Drive and then get his little floater in, or drive and take a pull up mid range. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, I think CJ McCollum is not the guy for him. and I think it would open up the offense and get Brandon Ingram going. You know what I mean? Easy buckets, things of that nature. Because I feel like CJ shoots them out of the game a lot of the times because he is not a one guard. So
For sure.
I think for him to get maximized would be on the Pelicans. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. Top 10 player. Eventually, once everybody fizzles out, the defense is never going to be there. I don't expect them to be on the defense to bring any defensive value. However, I think if you put the right pieces around him, honestly, I think as individually, I just want to say this, and then we'll finish up. But I feel like if he ends up taking just a little bit more effort on off balling and not just standing on the side or standing at the hash, I think his game would take leaps and bounds. I think he has the ability to shoot from deep. Why not include yourself with off ball so that way you can drag two guys with you and get free looks for your guys? So that's why I said I don't know if mentally.
Do you think that he can reach the stage? So what you're saying is, do you think he can be like not Steph Curry, of course, but like reach the stage where people are gonna have to respect him to the point where they're gonna put him two, so you can stretch the defense out by a few inches? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, that would be as far as just a player individually would be just the maximizing. I think then you would be able to put him on more different teams, and then it would alleviate the flaws that he does have. But let's just say he decides to keep playing like this, and don't get me wrong, he's been performing, he's been doing well so far, playing like this. I think the best option for him to play with, if he's going to play that exact style, is to go to New Orleans.
Yep. We can move on.
Have you said your piece, by the way?
Yeah. The only pushback I have on that, I don't think he could be a top 10 player. I think he could be a top 15 player at the most. That's the only pushback that I have.
That's a fair point. I could see. I think top 10 would be him maximized as off ball. I think if the off ball's there, then he's top 10. Because I think the threat, I think that just amplifies his playmaking. You know what I mean? It creates it breaks for his team. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The only pushback I have for that is if Dame could be a top 10 player, I think Trae Young could be a top 10 player because I think he has more playmaking ability than Dame, and if his scoring if he's just more efficient in that, like I think that's a top 10 player right there. That's only my pushback, but top 15 is still great too, though. I think that's my only pushback because if Dame could be a top 10 player, I think
it would probably be on the
that's actually one to bring down.
15, that's the crazy part,
but this season, damn. But
I mean, in my 10. I'm in 10.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I think, but Dame has always been like perennially like around the 10th spot, like a 9 to 11.
Yeah,
and I think that's what Dev is saying. Like, if he could be there, I think he thinks that Trae Young could be there at his peak.
I think they
both have the same issues. Yeah, Karen.
I get what you're saying, but I don't know about that one, Cubs.
I think it's because Trae's so small. Like he has to play out of his mind to alleviate that defensive flaw. You know what I mean? Like that's what it is. The same thing with IT. Like IT, look at IT's great career. I mean, great year in Boston, right? He was playing so out of his mind that's why he was getting MVP votes. You know what I'm saying? Like he was playing so like disgustingly out of his mind that you didn't even care that he was like 5'6". Like it was insane.
5'6", crazy.
Yeah,
he said next to Trey would be fire. I'm guessing he's talking about
he's talking about BI.
Yeah. Oh no, I thought he was talking about. Oh yeah, he is. All right, cool. All right. Since everyone had their conversation about Trae Young, now you'll understand why I said interesting Zion. So the next player is Zion Williamson. So, what is your opinion on Zion Williamson, guys?
I'm gonna let Context go first. I think Context, he got the guns and buns.
Yeah, he's all Zion right.
So, it's funny though. It's funny because his athleticism carries a bulk of his talent, right? And what ends up happening is that you can develop, like, for example, like I think Blake Griffin developed into an all-around, not all-around player, but a pretty competent,
a better player,
three-level scorer. I think he rounded out as far as ball handling, shooting, especially where his midi was good. His 3-point, he ended up hitting some 3-pointers. For Zion, I don't think he's going to be as skilled as Blake, but in terms of just refined skill, I think he's going to be able to refine his skills. I think he's going to be a better playmaker than Blake Griffin. I think he has a better just a better passing knack. I think he could find guys. I think you have to kind of just build a better team to fit that to put the ball in his hands. I think he's better as an off-ball player than the ball in his hands. But I think the fact that he's on this team and he can have the ball in his hands and create and use his athleticism in his younger years, I think that's what's going to be his greatest tool. I think it doesn't matter what he scores, whether it be 20, whether it be 25, you feel those points. You feel that impact. I think the getting to the rim, drawing fouls, catching and ones. He might be might end up happening is that he may not get the foul calls that he deserves, so he might not get the free throws.
I think he will. I think he will. I think he will. They're gonna blow that whistle like how they do Giannis.
Exactly what I was gonna say. Yes.
Okay, that's a fair point. I think it's a catch-22 just because with Giannis, although he is big. Don't get me wrong, Giannis is big, right? But Zion is Shaq compared to Giannis.
For sure.
In terms of body mass. You dig what I'm saying? So sometimes it may turn into offensive foul. You know what I mean? Like it might be especially when he's not just in transition and he's trying to create in the half court. Because honestly, I think his half court. Don't get me wrong. I think he's surprisingly skilled for
a half court player. I actually wanted to add that. I think he actually is. He actually, ironically, I think he doesn't have the similar issue as Giannis because I think the reason why is that he's able to really play in the post, not because he necessarily has post fades or anything like that.
I think because he's so strong.
I think it's just because he's able to really burst. His athleticism allows him to get a burst through the post, throw the post, so he's able to really turn it into a layup or a small hook or something
Amari
like that.
Stoudemire-ish, rip throughs, quick moves. I get my shoulder on you. You're not getting past me. Once I put my shoulder in your chest, it's over. And then on top of that too, Xeno, what I love that he does, he gets so low.
Yep, and then explodes up high. Yes, I know
it's scary. That's scary. That's so scary. That's so scary.
Scary bounce. He's probably the scariest bounce in the league. I don't know.
And so it's not even also with the bounce too. I think also with the skill, the ability to kind of finish around guys too. He's not necessarily like, I mean, obviously his style is to play through you, but he can kind of play around you too, like, you know, weave around and lay up, Euro step. I'm just scared that when he is Euro stepping and when he is planting his foot, like those lower leg extremities, man, it's like every time he Euros, I get nervous because I'm like, yo, one bad Euro and his knees are kaput. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the only thing I got with Zion is his health. That's his health is the only thing that is crazy to me that he has. Other than that, I'm cool with Zion.
Yeah.
Like he's
top
as
10
an offensive
easy,
player,
top 10 easy.
and
Maybe,
defense.
Yeah.
That's the two things I'm iffy with.
With him, I think the defense is more so with effort because I think he will be a great weak side defender.
I think his role. I think if you put him next to better players, he can be better.
Yeah. I think him with Giannis Valanciunas isn't the big that he needs to maximize himself.
Yeah, I think he need a I wish Brook Lopez was younger. And I wish they had more Brook Lopez's in the league.
It's kind of hard because the league right now, I think the issue is not defensively he's not. I think the issue with what you're saying is I know why, but sorry, the issue is that nowadays you need a big to be more switchable and actually maneuverable.
Yeah.
Or they're not going to really be able to join the NBA unless you're that great of a defensive, what's called drop big, that they'll allow you to pick you up. That's why you don't see much defensive, big big men that can't actually move their feet on the perimeter.
Yeah.
That's why you don't
But-
see much of those anymore.
But the thing is with him and I think him as an anchor and with Brook, with like a player like Brook as an anchor and him as a help side defender, it'll be really great. That's the thing with it. Like I don't think you need the versatility as it.
I see what you mean by that. Well, like in terms of like, because obviously if it was a younger Brook Lopez, he's not. I mean, he can move a little bit better, but the main objective is for him to just be big. So that with same way with Giannis.
No.
I mean, all Brook has to do is play big, be big, try to be the rim protector.
The
While
optimal thing is the spacing and the rim protection. That's the only two I think. I think he could be a decent perimeter defender, especially coming help side. Like he could get beat. I feel like he could get out of a play and get beat out of a play and still be in the play.
Just due to his athleticism,
especially with Brook Lopez.
His chase down block's gonna be insane. I'm not gonna lie. Zion's a chase down artist. Insane.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, Xeno, I feel like he's gonna be a top 10 player easily. I think he's gonna be like, it's gonna be one of those things. I think he's gonna show flashes where we're gonna be like, could he be top 5?
I actually think he could. I think
he could too. I'm not gonna lie. I think
the best rim finisher in the league.
I think yes, Moot. I want to add on to that. I think that one, you spoke about it a little bit. I think he can actually upgrade on his playmaking, which would allow him to be I think he's actually going to be really when Giannis kind of gets older. I think he's going to be the new Giannis in the sense. That
I agree 100%.
The super dominant rim finisher with great playmaking. I think he's actually going to defer away from Giannis's issues because he's actually going to be good in the post due to his explosiveness, and he's just able to push past players that way. I think he's going to have to develop like a actual post game, whether it's hooks or a little of a fade. I think he's going to develop that as well. And
he has good touch. He has like good touch around the rim. It's not like really, you know what I mean? The only thing is just I don't like that the fact that his jump shot is a set shot. I really don't like that. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Obviously, if he's able to bang that corner 3 as a set shooter, amazing, right? Of
course,
yeah. You know what I mean?
Also,
go ahead.
And also, I think with Zion, I don't think he'll be the best scorer in the league, but he can be the most dominant scorer in the league. If that makes sense. Meaning that I think Luka and
very impactful, Shaq-like, imposing. I agree with that. 100%.
I think Luka and Ant are going to be better scorers because they can score at all 3 levels. But I think Zion is going to be like the most unstoppable scorer. And also with Zion, I know context and Moo, you might like this too. You too, Xeno. A team that if you was on the
Pelicans, I gotta just get something from downstairs. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm here though. I'm just gonna mute up real quick.
A team that if Zion was on the Pelicans, I feel like he would be utilized greatly on is the Pacers, because you have a playmaker in Halliburton, a big that can play some defense and space the floor in Miles Turner, and allow him to be a number 1 scoring option. He has some guys around him to optimize it and some shooters around him, and Buddy Hield and Benedict Mathurin. Also with Zion, I think what I was about to say. I think also I do want to see in a playoff setting to see if
look at this Doug. This Doug is here. Oh my
Lord.
God. Look at this.
Hold on, let me hide my wallet.
Wow, you hear him? Okay, I was just calling you a thug. He's just hiding.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But with Zion, I think this man casual came.
Yo, man, come on, bro.
Nah, but I think we need to see what's it called. I think we just need to I would like to see in a playoff setting to see if his skill set is an issue, because we already know how Giannis is, and the flaws it is, or the flaws will be the same with Zion in a playoff setting. But I think the only issue with Zion is just health. That's it. I think everything else he really got it, and obviously defensively needs to improve.
All right, so to tell you, Justin, this is the Casual is one of my co-hosts on the Sunday show. I hope you guys come through for the Sunday show. So what we've been doing is the top 25 players under 25 and their ceiling. We've spoken about 5 players in almost 2 hours. So you know how much in depth we kind of went into. It's Luka Doncic, Shea, John Moran, Anthony Edwards, Trae Young, and now we're on number 6, Zion Williamson. So
I'm
we've
guessing
spoken
the
about
larger. I'm guessing the larger part of the conversation was stuck talking about Anthony Edwards and Trae Young.
Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
What about Luka? That made y'all
Uh,
go so in depth.
We just hyping him up.
Yeah,
Oh,
and no, they were spending a lot more on probably Anthony Edwards, bro. They were talking about how he could be better than it was called Dwayne Wade because of his defensive value. They were talking about his scoring. Yeah, I'm like, you already know how I feel. I haven't seen that yet, so I've not said anything.
No,
But
I
I
didn't
think,
go
but
that
I'm
deep.
not
I
gonna
didn't-
lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. The funniest part of like since we've been co-hosts is like our disagreements on Anthony Edwards, and even we both agree that D Wade is a little bit of a stretch.
exactly.
When
What?
it comes to Anthony Edwards, that is a bit of a
How?
stretch.
From
bro.
which way? From
It's a stretch from the standpoint of for Anthony Edwards' ability to reach D Wade. First off, I think you guys, if you think that Anthony Edwards has the defensive capability of touching D Wade, I think that you guys are massively underrating how good of a defender D Wade was.
and
The
I
way
think
that
you underrating the capabilities of Ant also.
but okay. When you say I'm underrating the capabilities, you're speaking on hypothetical because we haven't seen that from Anthony Edwards.
We seen it. We seen it in spurts.
Granted, we
We seen it in spurts.
we have seen spurts, but we have not seen him be able to connect the dots and
Yes.
do it on a consistent basis. The way that D Wade, well, we're talking about a player in D Wade that for like I want to say damn near a decade. Was it damn near a decade, or
But
was it
I'm
like
not.
7
But
8 years?
as a better
Was
defender,
doing
I'm not
like
speaking as a
defensive.
better defender, but I was speaking as a peak defender. I think he could peak out a way higher defender as D Wade.
But do you know what that would require of Anthony Edwards to peak higher or even at the
Yes,
same level
one
as
of
D
the
Wade?
best POAs. He could be one of the best POAs.
Okay.
That's undeniable.
While also being by
Yes,
far
yes,
by far
and
the best off-ball defender,
yes, that's what
off-ball guard
he can be.
defender
That
in the league.
he's literally the best non-big help side defender in the league right now.
You think Anthony Edwards right now is
Yes, it's the best non-big help side defender in the league.
okay? So then, are you disqualifying players like I'm sorry, my mind is fucking scrambled. Give me a second on that one because I'm gonna have to really think about that. He's like, whoa,
Throw for a loop. Throw for a loop.
that no facts. Wait, Anthony Edwards,
Nigga.
Anthony Edwards being a rim protect, being the best, like outside of being a big man, being the best rim protector.
It don't gotta be just rim protection when it comes to that. He could, I think, him about
Playing,
contesting.
are we talking like playing in the lanes?
I want
very
you to know this is reminding me of the OKC Glaze that we had on Sunday. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna have.
Bro,
I'm gonna
I
have
don't
to.
even play, bro.
No.
I'm
The reason why I'm saying this. No, it's nothing to do with you, Moo. It's the fact that you guys are having this long ass conversation about Anthony Edwards.
Yeah,
and
we can talk about it later. We can finish.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, for sure. We definitely can, but I would disagree. I just can't. I have to pull up my my book in a second because whoa, that just threw me for a loop. I've never heard that before.
Okay, Zion Williamson. Who hasn't spoken aside of casual? Because we're gonna move on to Triple J, and then you can say that. Yeah, Dev, have you said your piece?
No way you gonna have me talk about Triple J.
Yeah, you gonna talk about Triple J, boy. But Dev, I'll take that as a yes. Context, you've talking about Triple. What's it called Zion Williamson? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Moo, you've talking about Zion. Yeah.
No, but we can move on.
All right.
Got much to say about him.
All right then. So you can start off first, and then Justin can go next.
What's
your opinion? About? Triple J. I'm also gonna say this now, guys. We're probably gonna finish it off at the top 10 because it's 148 and we have not even hit.
I'm definitely down for the part 2. We should definitely make this
part 2.
Yeah, there's gonna be a part 2 next week. Don't worry.
For Triple J, I think he could be a top 15 player in the league. Uh, his offensive side, which people say that hasn't come yet, I do think he could also take a
I
step up
actually
in his
think
playmaking.
it's come up a little bit, to be fair, but
It
carry on.
did, it did a little bit. I'm just saying, like the regular people, they don't think offensively he's not that good, but I think defensively he's one of the best rim protectors in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not speak badly about his rim protection in the league. Uh,
Facts.
by the way, also as a stretch, he's probably one of the best in the league. Also as a stretch big, he could stretch out the floor for Ja, which that gives Ja way more room to work with. And his offensive game, from what we've seen this last year, or when Ja actually went out, is improved. It improved so much. The only thing is his shot creation and his playmaking. That's the only thing that I still think he could develop a lot more.
Jaren Jackson Jr. We're talking around him, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
JJJ. But that's it. That's it with JJJ, bro.
He's one of my favorite players in the league, honestly. Like I like his game. I like his defense. I like his shooting. Surprisingly, in the playoffs was actually good. It was better. And he actually was posting up a lot. He saw him posting LeBron the first time. I was like, hold on, JJ, what you doing now? And like I feel like we continue to develop that. Like we continue to develop that, and then his value will go up, especially as an offensive player because he's clearly not gonna be a scorer, number one scorer, probably not even number two, probably scoring on a team. But I feel like he can like play off of like how he played on. I think his game, him developing that shot, him developing that post game, will help his team up a lot and just the volume of. I think once he gets more comfortable and gets more refined in that, his volume will go up. I think as a defensive player, he's there, but I think he get better. Probably like he's already one of the best defenders in the league. I think as a rim protector and anchor, he can get better, but obviously he's better at as a help side defender. The rebounding was he probably I think he could be I think his rebounding can go up. I think in my opinion I can see him averaging 12 to 13 rebounds a game if he like puts in the effort. I think his athleticism is all about the timing and probably if he bulks up more. I am very high on Jerry Jackson Jr. I think he'll be one of the better players for the next couple of years, 5, 6, 7 years in the league. And I think with his potential, probably top 20, 25 because he's like a number two guy. Like obviously he's not gonna be like Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis offensively is just a better player than Jaren Jackson Jr. So that's the range I give JJJ.
Okay, so I think JJJ. I actually think that people are kind of sleeping on his progress on offense. I think that he's slowly and surely becoming more of a downhill threat, actually able to take certain guys off the dribble, kind of like a Cat type of stance where Cat kind of uses his 3-point shot to boost his driving to the rim. So I actually think he's able to do so. Though one of the biggest issues about him is like, and no one really speaks about it for some reason right now. He's actually probably the worst playmaker that we've spoken of right now, and he's horrible. Like as soon as he takes that ball up, yeah, you know what he's gonna do. There's no other thing. He ain't passing it unless the ball accidentally rolls out his hand and it goes to a teammate. If that's called a pass, sure. Outside of that, he is not passing the ball. That is going straight down that hill. He ain't seen anybody. He will flip a shot up, and that's the issue. I feel like sometimes when he's going downhill, he doesn't set his body correctly. Like he doesn't have the correct mechanics to bring the ball up and actually lay it up. Really, so it sometimes looks kind of awkward. But I think his shot creation can come a different way. I'm not sure if it's ever going to really manifest. I think his 3-point shooting is really good. It's not Cat level, but Cat is probably one of the best shooting big men of all time. So I don't blame him. But he's actually warranted attention on the 3-point line, which actually boosts his offensive value to not being bad. So to me, I think he's actually a good offensive player. I think he's flawed in the sense that he's bad scoring, playmaking wise. I understand that. I think that his finishing needs to be better, but I think he's flawed, but he's actually still good. And then defensively, he's one of the best rim protectors that we have. He's actually good roaming. He continuously, as he's in on the court, when Jar's out, he's continuously having one of the top 10 best defenses in the league consistently. So you can't deny the talent that Triple J is. And I think once it's all said and done, I think he has the opportunity to be a top 15 defender of all time. There's some other guards, there's some other bigs on this list that I actually want to talk about. I'm actually going to move one of these players down, and I'm going to probably put him 10. I'm going to put the other one I would talk about in 10. But that's the other thing. I think he's going to go down as one of the best defenders in general that we've ever seen. Top 15, really? I want to say around. So yeah, really? I think Triple J's. I actually highly rate his defensive value.
Okay.
Because if you really sit down and think about. If you really sit down and think about this season, what real defensive help he had around him this year, outside of us, the only one you can sit there and say is who was that POA defender this season? Dylan Brooks. And outside of that, who else really? Bane took a jump, but he took a jump to a decent defender, not a great or good defender. So he didn't really have defensive help like that. His bigs were injured this season.
You can argue the reason why he was able to make that jump is because of the step up Jaren Jackson Jr. took
exactly
as a rim protector. So yeah. No. I don't mind you, I don't hold his defensive stock like that much because in the postseason we saw how he was able to be manipulated into doing things that he didn't want to do otherwise, and it created him to fall back to his foul baiting. So and I don't hold his defensive stock with that much weight, but I do give credit where credit is due. So
I do want to say that I think that's really due to the teammates around him, where he's essentially having to hold the lion's share of defensive value on his team.
Gang, we just watched him like literally today fall back into his old habits again.
I agree with you. I ain't denying what you're saying. I ain't denying it. I think
Xeno's nasty. Xeno, you're nasty.
How?
You were about to go into a full narrative and say, well, because he has so much responsibility on his plate,
I was gonna say that, but when you said that earlier, I can't deny that. So I'm wrong. Okay. But I am still speaking about him peak wise. So
fair point. You're right. My bad, Xeno.
Yeah, you're out here trying to. No.
I didn't mean it like that.
You see that, Justin? He's trying to go. I got you. When you
didn't get anything. Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. He low-key.
I know this ain't PC. I know it ain't PC. I'm relaxed.
Oh, you talking about FIBA? I want to say the NBA's not going on today, but it's FIBA. I forgot the FIBA tournament was.
Go ahead. My fault. Go ahead.
All right, Justin, it's your turn.
I'm passing on him. I do want to.
But I know if I told you, well, on Anthony Edwards, this man would say, "Fuck my work, I'm coming right now." That's crazy.
I don't. No. I'm passing on Jaren Jackson Jr. because one, we talked about him exclusively on Sunday.
True.
And then two
2 weeks ago, yeah.
No, nigga, what? It was literally last Sunday.
No,
it was last Sunday.
Last Sunday was OKC.
No. Remember, we were talking about centers, and he played center majority of this.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
My fault.
Yeah. But that's one, and then two. I don't. To be honest with you, everything that you guys said, outside of like how much you value his defense, I wholeheartedly agree. I think his offensive development is just fine. I think some people like overstate what I said when I was talking about how horrid his playmaking was, or what we were talking about. We were talking about how bad his playmaking was. Like he's a worse playmaker than Anthony Davis, and that says a lot because Anthony Davis is a terrible playmaker. But like that being said, it's like the majority of the bigs in the NBA, like you can't really just like hold stock with that. So understanding that, and then understanding how he is still a lob threat, and the fact that he has a pretty like respectable three point shot, especially considering the volume that he takes, I think he's just fine in his development. And yeah, I don't really have much against what you got to say, but I do want to go back at my guy here that was saying that Anthony Edwards, his like outside of bigs in today's NBA, he's like by far the best. Like one of the
not by
best.
far, not by far, not by
Oh,
far.
okay. That's even worse because I'm looking at the name. Yes, that's even worse because I'm looking at the names of all players that register as like off-ball players. That's not bigs, and when you think of it, you only have
Niggas
you
on
only
B-ball index.
no,
Crazy.
I'm literally I'm giving you fact because I had to pull up my book because I'm like, wait, I know for a fact.
But
I was looking
also,
at his
Anthony
defense.
Edwards not labeled as an off-ball
But
defensive player. Also,
okay.
he's
So then
labeled
we're
as a
going back.
chaser.
But okay, so then we're going back to the D Wade defensive talk and D Wade defensively. When I say off ball as an off ball guard, he was the best by far. That's not like hyperbolic. That's literally what he was in a league where you had Chris Paul that was contesting for that spot. You had Kobe Bryant who was contesting for that spot. You had Jason Kidd who was contesting for that spot. You had who else? Who else? I'm trying to think. Who else at the guard spot? I guess like do you can I throw what's my guy's name? Play for the Spurs. Help me out.
Bruce Bowen?
Yeah, Bruce Bowen. Can I throw his name out there? Like he was contesting. Sean Marion. He was contesting for that title, along with people that are far superior than the defenders that in this day and age are in the league.
Far
He was
superior?
the best by. He was far superior. He was far superior to them, and they're far superior to the guys now. Like, would you say? Who do you think
cool.
that you?
I think
Okay,
defenders today are, if not
name me
even
the
or
name me the outside
as
of
near.
bigs. Name me the defender outside of bigs. Name me the big defend. Name me the defenders that you would go to that you think. Because I think you're wrong in saying Anthony Edwards. I think Herb Jones has a title. I think Jimmy Butler has a title. I think Jason Tatum has a title. I think Anthony Edwards is like he's top 5, but he's not there yet. Whereas D Wade. When we're talking about defense, like off ball defense,
I'm projecting him to be that player,
but based off of what
that we see
glimpses. We see glimpses.
Justin, let him get off some shit because you are kind of.
Go ahead.
We seen that he is one of the best non-big help side defenders in the league. We seen that. We also seen that he's one of the best POAs. All we need is consistency with Ant.
Okay. So one thing. So you said consistency, and then you also listed about like we saw him do that. Do you understand that we saw him do both of those things as far as like being able to protect the rim and also be a quality off-ball defender? We saw him be able to do that in separate moments. He wasn't doing it both. Then we go to D Wade, where say whatever you want about D Wade's like competition at the guard spot outside of Kobe and Manu. Manu was doing both consistently and at such an elite level that he was probably a better defender than like majority of the forwards. So like that's what I mean when I say like D Wade's defense is like massively
as him
underrated.
As one of the best perimeter defenders right now. You think he cannot? He's already one of the best.
I don't think Anthony Edwards will ever be able to touch D Wade's defensive peak because I think D Wade's defensive peak or D Wade's defensive like value at his peak. I don't think he'll ever touch it because D Wade's defensive value was like up there with like it's up there. Like it's up there with
the value that you're equating to it. My fault. Let me just add this, and I'll let you guys go back forth. But the value, and I think that's what Mu was trying to relay is that it's consistency. Because the focus right now, the focus, the reason why we see these flashes is because the effort. We see the levels of effort, and I think if the effort is consistent enough, I think then we will see the flashes be full blown out seasons. Like in my opinion, I think he can be an all NBA player and an all defensive player to the point where I think he can make maybe all first team defense and be maybe all first, all NBA. That's how good
I think he can because his name. Just off his name value, he could be a all defensive team probably 3 times.
But yeah, continue more. I didn't want to go ahead. Go
All
ahead.
right. So sorry to cut you guys off,
Yeah,
but
no, go ahead,
essentially to TLDR's Moo is essentially talking about how he thinks he's able to do that type of stuff later on in his career at his peak because of the fact that he had seen flashes of him doing one or the other. But have you seen flashes of him doing both of them at like the same game or the same few games, stuff like that? That's the first thing I want to ask before we move on, because we still need to get on to Tyrese Halliburton right now.
I'm
asking Moo because I need Moo's question on this.
What you say again?
Have you seen flashes of him doing both? Or
yes, this season we seen him be one of the best help. Like I was saying, bro. Like I said, he was one of the best help side non big defenders while being one of the best POAs in Spurs.
I feel you.
The thing is, it's consistency. That's the only knock on Ant is consistency.
All right, next thing is Karen. Sorry, I didn't want to.
No, I'm just saying he has everything there. He just got to put it all into it.
All right then. So next on to sorry to cut you off, but I really need to get this done. We need to talk about your opinion on Tyrese Halliburton. What's your guys' opinions of Halliburton? Let me go first this time. So finally, I can get my hate on. Oh boy, so.
That's what you were trying to get to, yo. You're sick. Go ahead.
I think Tyrese Halliburton, as much as I'm going to start giving him some praise, and then I'm going to start hating on him. So I'm not going to lie to you. He proved a lot of people wrong with his awkward his awkward jump shot that people generally think he couldn't really do shot creation with that jump shot because it just looked like it was a bit too slow to really get it off in front of players. He actually proved them wrong and showed that he can actually be a consistent jump shooter while actually shot creating. So his mid-range isn't as bad as people thought it would have been. His three-point shooting has also always been great. So that's also another part of his game that he's always proved everyone wrong. So with his scoring, his mid-range and specifically his three-point shooting, he's shown that he has a basis to be a decent shot creator. His rim finishing, I'm not necessarily sure if he's great at. I'm gonna have to ask you guys about that. I don't think he's that good, to be honest with you. And then the part that I want to hate on, oh boy, his playmaking, man. You guys out there, you guys are getting fooled. He is tricking you. He is tricking you with these John Stockton ass assists.
Hater.
He is fooling you with his John Stockton ass assists. These are type of assists where he's passed it to him and he still has a defender on him and he's trying to make a tough shot and it gets assisted to Tyrese Halliburton.
No.
He is a fraud he's a fraud playmaker. Do I believe he's still one of the better playmakers in the league? Yes. But people value his playmaking a bit too high. Like, he is not as good as a playmaker as people think he is. Do I think at his peak, I think he's going to be able to show up his defense issues. I think he actually can just sit down and be a net neutral defender while actually being less of a John Stockton merchant and actually being able to create advantages well, while also being somewhat of a consistent shot creator. So I think he actually could end up being like a top 15 player in the league. I don't know if he'll be a top 10 player. I have some reservations about that, but I think he's going to be a top 15 player. Next.
Okay, I got you for context, though. I actually like Halliburton, even though context, like me and him go back
fraud
and forth
watch.
on it. I actually do like Halliburton context, believe it or not.
You a hater, dog. You a hater.
Believe it or not, context, I actually do like Halliburton. I do think he has a very smooth game. I think at the rim, I just don't think he goes to it a lot. Like, and he is a pass first guard. His intent isn't to really score like that. I don't think he's ever going to be like a high volume guy. Score. I think he's always going to be like the playmaker guy. I think his defensively the issue is I would like to see him more in the passing lanes. I think he could be a little bit better defensively because it kind of surprised me that he's not that great defensively because coming out of college he's a pretty good defender. I think he was projected to be a good defender too. And I do like Halliburton's I do like his play style, the mindset. I think him in Indiana. I don't know I don't know if that's the right coaching. I think because I think Rick Carlisle coaching style is gonna fade out. I think it's good for him right now, but eventually in the future when he's at his peak, I think it will fade out. His coach style is gonna fade out, and I think a new coach will help Halliburton. Increase his game more. Also, what I like about Holly, I do like his ability to shot create, his shot creation ability, his smoothness to his game. He has a good job of creating some open space and open opportunities. A little flashiness to him, and also with Hallie, I think he has I think he has a good IQ. I think he has one of the higher IQs in the league for a point guard, and I think he will be I don't know a ranking. He's obviously top 5 point guard with him, John, Luca, and Trey, and a ranking. I say top 15, but I'd be top 15 because I think the top 10 players will be. I think he'll be top 15, and I think he'll have years. He could be like at the end of the top 10. So like same like how like remember earlier when I said like Trey Young. Like I think he'll have like years. He'll be like he'll be at 10, but he'll consistently be at the top 15 range. But he'll be have years like one of those years like hold on now he's top 10 this year, but around that range, like if that makes sense.
So you're essentially saying that you're not necessarily sure he's going to be like one of those top tier players, but you think that he's going to be able to. When I mean top tier, I mean the superstars. But you think that he's going to be able to at least reach to the stage that he's around those levels. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fluctuation. So like between my honest assessment between him and Trey, that they're gonna fluctuate. So like they have like a talent, but they won't beat it. They're guys like you can make an argument for them, but they're not stamped. Like a guy like Zion, Luca, and the other, and I feel like those guys are like boom, just stamped. With Tyrese and Trey, I'm like, nah, I'm not. I'm okay if they're not stamped. Like there'll be arguments for them, but I won't say they get stamped. If that makes sense.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay then. So Moose, you're next. If you wanted to talk about it.
All right, man. Tyrese. The thing is with Tyrese, he gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
In the Discord.
From me too. From
you
me too.
Know,
yeah.
In the Discord.
Yeah. From me too. Yeah.
You know, love to me.
I don't think he could be near a top 10 caliber player.
Thank you.
I do think
that's fair.
15 is the highest that he could go. Like exactly at that 15 spot. I think he's a top 20 player.
You're spitting right now.
The only reason why I don't see his scoring elevating at a too high level than his playmaking. He is a good playmaker, I'm not gonna lie. But the playmaking is overhyped. It's very overhyped. I remember
Thank you.
Another season, people were saying he was the best playmaker in the league.
Oh yeah, that is that what I say. That's like he does get a lot of love, but I think that is a problem with Tyrese Halliburton when they say like he's like I think he's like let him get there first. Like they be saying he's like a LeBron Jokic tier playmaker, and say it's levels to it, So yeah, I do.
That's why I hate on this guy, bro, because they be overrating his playmaking. He is not that guy. I have to hate on him if people are gonna talk so much. That was called talk so much about him when he's not that guy.
That is so crazy.
You're a nasty man, Xeno. You're just a nasty man.
Go
ahead. I'll wrap this Halliburton conversation up. Casual. Go ahead, my brother.
That's crazy. I'm just speaking facts and everybody.
You're a nasty man, and I'll move you right behind him too.
How? Y'all niggas. What did I do? Y'all niggas love Holly.
Why am I always getting slandered for speaking facts? I don't know what to say.
Because
all right, casual. Let's do a casual.
Saying that like because everybody else is over showing too much love to somebody. Now you have to be the one that shows so much hate for him. That's nasty. That's nasty work.
Hey, the waters. Hey, I'm not joking. Let me not speak. Let me not go on my tangent on that joke. Never mind.
Hey,
hey, thank you, man. You know, I've always been trying to be great at hating, but you know, sometimes people just bring you down.
He really does. You really have perfected your craft of hating. So you know, hate on. As far as Tyrese goes, um, I like the potential he has of being a consistent primary ball handler for like a championship level team. Not for the playmaking skill, but the combination of him being a reliable shooter, along with his competent passing ability, I think is like phenomenal. As far as like what could be. Now, as far as like what you were speaking on when you know you talk about how people show too much love to his playmaking, I think what you're alluding to is basically like the love that people give where they like coincide him along with like some of these great playmakers. Like they put his name next to like the Trae Youngs, the Luka Doncic's,
Thank you.
and his name does not belong with them. So I completely
Exactly.
agree there. But I think his name should be mentioned when we talk about like some of the league's like young great passers, because
Agreed.
I think his passing is truly his gift. I think defensively he has like the length, but he doesn't have like the size nor like the strength to be able to like be like one of the league's best. But I think somewhere down the line in his career he will touch like at his peak defensively. Like I say like definitely a positive, so like a above average defender, which is not, I say like Steph Curry's level defense, right? I think he can reach that, and I think that could equal into an all-star level player. You know, because I don't think his offense is going anywhere. So yeah, I like Tyrese Halliburton.
Bro said, so like, where would you put him like later on in the league? Like, what do you think he's gonna peak as?
As far as like, is he like a top 10 player, top 15?
Yeah, 15, yeah.
I say top 15. I mean, as far as like the top 10 goes, I don't see Jokic, Giannis.
I actually don't want to even talk about these two. I'm sorry, I'm gonna move 2 players around. I promise you, it's not gonna be my own teammates, so don't worry. It's not. I'm not gonna do that.
Oh yeah, please don't do that to me.
These are 2 defensive talents. That's what I'm gonna tell you as. That I kind of want to talk about. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really high on these 2 players defensively, and I'm actually curious about your opinion on them. So the first one I want to talk about.
Oh, word.
Wait, my fault. I promise you,
we got our mid Halliburton takes off, right? Cool.
I promise you, I thought you already had your.
No, it's all because I'm not even gonna make it long because I know you don't want to make the whole thing too long. I don't want to keep you up too long. But to be honest with you,
keep
in terms of the overhype, I agree with the overhype. I agree with that. I think in terms of playmaking, here's my thing. I think he is a generational passer. I think he sees the floor just as well as those guys, like Jason Kidd. Like,
so do you think he's in a Jason Kidd mode where he's one of the best playmakers? Sorry, passers, but not one of the better playmakers.
There you go. There we go.
Got you.
So I value his like Casual already alluded to, but my thing is that I think the passing and on top of that, the mentality. I think it's what I relate more to is the mentality that he has as a point guard. Mm-hmm. I think he wants to elevate his team. I think he is. I mean, if we looked at what Lonzo was gonna do, I think it would have been in the same vein. To be honest with you, I think obviously Lonzo would have been the better athlete and the better defender, obviously, right? But to me, Tyrese Halliburton, in terms of passing and seeing the floor, I think they see it in the same vein. Now, in half court, I think Lonzo's probably a little bit better in making those reads, but I think Tyrese is right behind that. I think he makes better reads than Trae passing. I think he makes better reads than Darius Garland passing. I think he's the best point guard in terms of making reads in the younger guys, for the younger guys. To be honest with you, I think he's a better passer than Steph. I think he's a better passer than Steph. I think the only better passers, like pure passers, that's better than him in the league right now is probably LeBron, Jokic, Luka.
Yep.
That's it.
Trey.
So no.
Oh, wow.
No.
Wow.
So in my opinion, I think it's, and also you have to also remember it's mentality too, right? It's the intent to pass. Like he's looking to pass. He is looking to elevate his teammates and put them
That John Stockton ass nigga. Yeah, of course he's looking to pass.
Well, Xeno, well, my thing is, and I always say this. So my areas of development for him is obviously just improve ball handling, improve shot creation. I think Casual said that he's going to be probably like Steph level defender. I disagree. I think he's going to be a level above Steph. I think he can play passing lanes amazingly. I think he's rangy. I think he's quick, and I think he has enough IQ to develop as an off-ball kind of roamer, get into the passing lanes, or he'll trap and use that arm length to dig and get, you know, a couple of deflections and steals. I think it would be great because if you look at there's that you know that the thing that we use on Discord where it gives us the percentage on deflections. I think he ranks like high percentage in deflections. You know what I mean? So I just think his areas of improvement to get to that, and I agree in terms of where he's gonna be at his peak would be top 15 player just because of the scoring. I don't think he's ever going to want to develop that scoring, but I think he has the ability to have flashes. He'll put up a 40-point burger. You know what I mean? He'll put up a high 40 game. He'll put up a high. I don't think he'll ever get a 50 ball crack. I think that's going to be very surprising if he ever hits a 50 ball. But I think he will have those flashes of 40 ball, and that's why I think what makes him so explosive is that he will randomly give you a 40 ball, but he'll give you a 40 and a 15 assist game. And that's amazing to me. You know what I mean? Like, I think Trey, with Trey, although he can do that too, I think Trey's just mentality-wise, he don't care about passing. Like, he'll do it, but I don't think he cares about elevating his teammates. I think he rather, if he is that lead charge in that, whether it be his scoring, I think he'd rather score than assist. And I think that's why I value Tyrese Halliburton over Trey. So you see how we say that Trey is going to be teetering between in that 15 range, that top 15 range. I think Tyrese Halliburton will be in that same mark. And I think it's just going to fluctuate between Trey and Tyrese.
I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying. You really spit in facts because I don't think enough gets talked about when it comes to Trae Young. Like, yeah, we can acknowledge that as a passer, playmaker, he's phenomenal, but he doesn't want to utilize that skill, and that's a huge problem in his game.
I disagree with that because I do see him make those passes. I don't think he uses scoring. Like, I think I said it in earlier when we was on Trae Young. I said like the team around him that they are very Trae aligned because like he doesn't have like
that's a fair assessment.
Really ball line because like he has, even when he was like younger, he didn't have a great team around. He's still
that's not even a fair assessment.
And like giving him, I mean, it is a fair assessment because like even when he didn't have the talent, he was still giving it the ball. He's still giving players.
They can The problem with that logic is, yes, were they heavily Trey reliant as a like from the playmaking standpoint, like him being ball dominant? Absolutely. Yes. That's all the more reason for you to utilize all of your skill rather than just one. Think about this past season, how many shots he chucked up when he could have found a better read. Think of how many times there was players, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, sitting in the corner waiting for Trae Young to make the right read. And although, yes, we all agree that he's very, very like wonderful in the pick and roll, like it's beautiful.
Right.
But that's what he basically relies on when it comes to, all right, well, I got to play make. He's lazy when it comes to using his
skills. Casual. He makes pedestrian reads when his talent shows you that his this is what is so frustrating. Hold on, Dev.
When it comes to no. And I gotta say this. When it comes to Trae Young, the only two words that I can come to when talking about his game, he is a habitual settler. He is a habitual settler. He settles for the bare minimum, and it's good enough as long as his face is on that W or his face is on the newspapers. He does not care about progression. He does not care about developing his teammates. He does not care about building the offensive skills.
I do not like this. I do not like the fact that Justin. I don't like how Justin and Casual are teaming up together. This is not.
I heavily disagree with that because like there's a lot interplay into that, but we can have that discussion another day.
That is true.
Facts. Yeah, facts. Because I'm gonna get Mo up in the Discord. Because we're gonna have to talk about this D Wade shit. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Well, yeah,
We gonna take
let's
this.
fast forward into the other guys that you want to talk about,
Yeah,
All
we
right,
can hop in
so
court and talk about it.
So the last one, so the second to last person. Oh my god, the second to last person that I'm going to be talking about. Let's start off with Evan Mobley. So Evan Mobley, in his second year already, in my opinion, has took such a gigantic leap that he went from, to my opinion, in his first year, I think he really had the ability to be an all defensive player already. I just think that he was kind of a Jared Allen merchant, because as you saw when he was out, it was really hard for him to really try and do the rim protection while also roaming.
Right.
But in his second year, he really shored that up to the point where he doesn't really have any weaknesses on the court anymore outside of screen navigation. But he's a 7 foot big. Of course, he's gonna have issues with screen navigation. But outside of that, he really doesn't have much issues. And I think genuinely, he's also kind of curbed one of the biggest issues for big men, which is fouling issue. If I'm correct, let me check 1 second. Because I'm pretty sure he does.
You're right, Xeno.
Yeah. He's not really a habitual fouler. He's actually quite disciplined on that type of stuff.
Yes.
So he's
tall, plays long. Yes. Go ahead, my fault. Go ahead.
No, you're fine with saying that. So he's already curbed that issue that plagued Jaren Jackson Jr. already. So he's already got past that stage. He's good. He's good help side. He's a good weak shot blocker. He knows his position. He's very positionally smart. His defensive IQ is really good already as a second year player. I honestly believe that he could actually go down as he's probably going to go down as probably the best defensive prospect that we've seen that we've had in the past few in this generation. I think it's going to be the new generation where he's going to be the best defensive prospect if Wemby doesn't become better. But outside of that, I think he's going to be the best one. That's my opinion on his defense. His offense I'm going to be honest with you, there's no real reason to talk about his offense. It has not progressed since its first year. I'll be honest with you. But so that's my opinion on him. What's your guys' opinions?
Go on, set it off, y'all. Y'all good. Go
on.
Let me start. No, suit me. You never.
Go ahead.
I did start. I started on.
Oh yeah, he did start on Triple J. Yeah, he started on Triple J.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, let Dev start.
Okay, I guess again, Evan Mobley, I'm really high on his defensive potential. I do think he could be one of the players that could be a better defensive player than Jaren Jackson Jr. He probably could be his second best defender in the league if Anthony Davis still around, or Bam's still around, because I forgot Bam's still in the league as well. And also, I think like what Xeno said, I do think I gotta win DPY either this year or next year. And I think with Evan Mobley, he just gotta develop his face-up game, because I do see the shooting potential in him, like a nice 15-footer, because I like his form and having like him hitting some corner threes. So I'm not saying he's gonna be a knockdown shooter, but I do like his ability to develop that into his game, and maybe a face-up game as well if he can get a slight little post game, a little jump hook going on. And I think he can lead a team to be like the best defense in the league, or one of the best defense in the league. I think he has to be optimized like KG, how KG should have been back in the day, like not as a scorer, but as your best defender, but as a secondary option, if that makes sense, in the best way. I think that's how he should be. Excuse me?
Yeah, no, you good. You talking like I'm saying. You going? Yeah, you.
Oh, okay. And like I think he would be utilized like he should be utilized like that. But other than that, I really like his game defensively, and I think he's going to continue to get better and better. And he has one of the higher upsides into the league. I think with that, as potential offensively, defensively, top 10 stamp for sure, easily, and he can give, believe it or not, some of our favorite players a run for the money.
Yep. Your next context. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So man, Xeno, we are definitely on the same chord with this. I am super high on Evan Mobley. I am way higher on him than Triple J. I actually had him as It was between him and Anthony Davis as my DPOY for the year. I was not a big fan of Triple J winning DPOY. I agree with you with the Jarrett Allen Merchant. I think he beat those allegations. However, what ended up happening is that when he, due to just his body type, I just want him to get just a little bit stronger. And that's obviously going to come with age, getting stronger, just playing against stronger guys, the experience, things of that nature, so that way he doesn't get bullied, because that's showing between Mitchell Robinson and unfortunately Julius fucking Randle.
Julius Randle, man.
Yeah, Julius Randle. I think that they did a number on him in terms of just strength and moving him out the way. I think Tibbs had a great game plan to neutralize the guards. So I'm with Deb. I think just opening up with a mid-range, just practicing that calm 12 to 15 footer. I think that'll keep the defense honest. And on top of that too, I mean, his passing is pretty good. I don't know if you guys noticed when they do those short rolls and the big to big connections, he throws alley-oop to Jerry Allen. He throws off drop off passes. He'll jump in the air and drop it off. So he does have, some playmaking or short roll playmaking, or just connecting passing. Yeah. So I'm
so do you think? Wait,
Yeah.
to cut you off. Sorry, but so you're essentially saying that
good.
he's one of the best. You think he's actually he has a upside as a connector on offense, essentially.
Oh yes, 100%. I think he has the IQ, and then on top of that too, multiple DPOIs. When I say multiple, like three. That's. I would be highly disappointed if he doesn't get 3. I'll be highly disappointed. I can see 4. Realistically, but I'll be highly, highly, highly disappointed. I think that's how much impact he can bring as a roamer, as a rim protector, as a shot deterrent. I think if I'm not mistaken, Cleveland was like top 10 in defense last year.
I believe so, yeah.
Right. So I think honestly, the sky's the limit for him. I'm higher on him than I am Jonathan Kuminga. I think he has the skill set. It's just, does he want to put in the effort to do so? Just working on a little bit more ball handling, so that way it's not so much just one dribble pass, one dribble. He can kind of counter certain moves, and work on just a dribble pull up. You know what I mean? KG had it. I mean, KG developed it to the point where he had turnaround over the left shoulder, right shoulder, and all that. He don't need all that. He's so tall and long, he could just dribble, step up. You know what I mean? So I'm very, very high on him. He's going to be probably the best defender in the league very, very soon. And probably he can extend that for about maybe 10 years moving forward. And in my opinion, the sky's the limit for that guy, man. I just hope that offensively he just works on that jump shot. And just improve on just subtle things. Probably a jump hook, real quick jump hook. That could help him in the lane. To fend off stronger defenders that push him off his axis. But other than that, man, sky's the limit for this guy, man. Sky's the limit.
Me?
I'm very high on. I do think he can be better than Jared.
Jackson.
Yeah. Jaren Jackson, I do think he could be a lot better than him. Offensively, he could be there. That's the only thing about Evan Mobley is his offensive bag, and can he actually put his effort into his offensive scheme?
Well, if that does happen. If that happens, what do you think? What would happen? Like, would you realistically see him max out?
I think a top 13 player.
You don't think he can be higher than that? I actually think he would be better.
The only reason why I can't say top 10, I can't undeniably say 10 because the top 10 is so heavy.
Yeah.
The top 10.
Yeah, the offensive impact by the other players.
Big.
Yeah, it's gonna be so far. Yeah,
you got Devin Booker on 12. You got players people got JT at 9. You got Bron there. You got big names, but he can be.
But Bron is out the league in 3 years.
Yeah, I was saying that's why I said when the older players are starting to slow down.
But okay. Although I disagree with the Bron thing, he is right. When you think about who's synonymous within the top 10, they're relatively young still, or they're young,
Yeah.
or they're just entering their prime, or they're just entering their peak, right? And so, like, even with the player like
Really?
Evan Mobley, who's
The
yeah, I
only
mean,
ones I would
think
say
of
that is
Jokic,
Jokic, Embiid,
Giannis,
Giannis,
Embiid,
Embiid,
Luka Doncic,
Lucas,
Jason Tatum,
Tatum, and
Devin
what's
Booker,
Devin Booker and SGA.
Donovan Mitchell, SGA.
But I wouldn't think Donovan Mitchell is gonna have years where he's actually peaking anywhere past like 8. So I think I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna. Sorry, I mean I don't think I'm gonna have the years that he's gonna be passing 10. I think he's gonna be around the 10. He's gonna be like the Damian Lillard of our generation. So I don't think he's gonna be that. And I think Devin Mobley might actually carve out his niche for being in the top 10 by being the vastly superior defensive player that we've ever seen. That's why I think he's gonna be able to reach that 8-9 spot ish area.
And with that being said, Xeno, you are assuming that he's going to have a consistent. What would you give his offensive? Like, what would you?
Okay, so that's I would say that he's probably going to be much more weaker of an offensive player than AD. I think he would be like a 6 offensively or 6.5.
Okay,
I think he could peak there, but I think that his defense could push him onto that top 10. But I'm not saying it's gonna be where, like, you know how AD people like. I think he's gonna peak out as the best defender in our generation outside of Wemby.
So what would you rank that?
So 10.
So a 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think the only defender that would have a real chance to be that way is Wemby, and I think that Jaren Jackson is gonna be peaking out like 9.59. So that's what I want to say, to be honest with you. Did Moo get his point off? Dev got his point out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's only you, Justin. He hasn't got the point off. Go ahead.
Well, first off, I want to ask you guys. I just got your answer. What do you guys think offensively, like, he'll peak at?
It's so weird because the skill set is there, right? The talent is there. The length is there in terms of, high, good shot arc, long arm, so he can shoot over guys. It's weird because of the fact that he doesn't have the opposite versus KG, who damn near had the ball in his hand at one point all the time, or it ran through him. Mobley does not get enough touches for him to develop stuff in real life. I mean, real life action, if you get what I'm saying. He's so dependent
I get you.
on having Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell carry a lot of the scoring load. So I'm with
Bro, you could break a double team.
Pause. I'm with
He
Xeno.
said a scoring load. That's not what scoring
No,
load.
he said load. He said load scoring wise, but kind of.
It's crazy.
No. He said a scoring load, but it wasn't.
Let him rock. Xeno being annoying. So yeah. Like in my opinion, I would say it's between a 6.5, 7. 7.5 to me would be where he is a better ball handler, right? Mm-hmm. And he can do what he can do, like maybe like post hooks, right? He has like a low post game that's pretty respectable. I would say like maybe like a B-, and his mid range is probably like a B+, where it's knocked down. Like, you know what I mean? 12, 15, butter. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I would say would give it to me. Like, I would say he's a 7.5, 7.8, or when he's hitting it, you know what I mean? But other than that, I think it's gonna stay between 6.5, 6.8. You know what I mean? I just don't know if he's gonna get that live action. So if he can see if his training, because that's what really helps him get the confidence. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's just gonna ever build that confidence offensively. You know what I mean?
I get you. So solid answer. I didn't disagree with anything you said as far as like the possibilities of his development. But here's what I saw this past season. Defensively, he took yet another step. Like you said, he diminished the Jared Allen Merchant allegations. And even I would like to say that even in the matchup against the New York Knicks, like, yes, the Knicks as a team was able to torch the Cavs, but I don't think people understand how much he played a role in Julius Randle's second playoff flop.
Yeah, he was putting him in jail.
He was putting him in a box.
He definitely
had him
did.
in the
He
straight
did.
jacket.
I agree.
Yeah, so like when let's start there. Like as he is currently, he
so
is
casual. Before you, I don't want to think, but just to say,
No.
so I want to just reiterate, like it wasn't so much that I felt like Julius Randle took advantage of it offensively, because he definitely made it super difficult for him. It's just I'm just talking about for him to just improve on just physical strength. That's all. That's all. But go ahead.
Okay. Well, no, and to your credit, when you did say with age and nutrition, it should be able to balance out. So credit to you for that. I guess my main view when I looked at Evan Mobley this year, I am so like disappointed with like his offensive like regression this past season, and which like I know it sounds crazy because he averaged like a point. Like a point two or some shit like that, like more than he did his rookie season. But I don't think people really like recognize how much he was spoon fed. Although he beat the Jared Allen allegations defensively, offensively, quiet as kept. He's starting to fall victim to the Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell merchant allegations because he is like
It's not an allegation. It's facts. It's facts.
but that's my problem. That's my problem. So when I'm looking at Evan Mobley, although yes, I think defensively I'm with you guys. He's a transcendent talent, and I think at his peak he could be rivaling some of the. You say he could be the greatest defender of all time. I'll just go out there and say it. He'll be rivaling, like once he hits his defensive peak, he'll be rivaling the top two greatest defenders, which is, in my opinion, Hakeem Olajuwon and Kevin Garnett. He will be rivaling those two. I believe so. I
don't think he get to that stage. I just think he's gonna be the best defender.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because I'm watching him coming like screen navigating while also being able to cover so much ground so that he can still be in the paint to be able to deflect shots from defenders that he didn't even see coming. That it's so reminiscent of Hakeem in his defensive peak that I'm so high on what he can do if he can be able to be a more consistent screen navigator. I think his rim protection is already top notch. I think his ability to step up and move around the court while also still maintaining that knowledge of what's going on in the paint, I think that's also top notch. I just need him to be able to read more on the pick and roll or read more on the pick and pop and be able to cover that area. And yeah, I think he would be rivaling those two. And that's not speaking on accolades as far as like defensive player of the years. That's just, I think that stuff will naturally come because it will already be noticed by the majority that, hey, do you see what this guy Evan Mobley is doing over in Cleveland? So that's that. But offensively, the reason why I'm sort of paused. I have caused the pause when I'm thinking about him offensively, like you guys are, is because I'm looking at his jump shot, and although yes, it is high arcing and he does have long arms, that also is a reason to be concerned because how many long armed 7-footers do you know that has a quality 3-point shot,
money mid range? That's a fair point.
Or a consistent mid range,
right?
You know, so that's one thing. But then also, even when he maxes out on his weight development, you guys do understand he's 215,
right?
Now I'll be the first to say the look versus his body mass is never to be like never to be like don't get it twisted. Like just because he looks skinny does not mean he's weak, right? But that being said, he's 215. I watched him, and although yes, he gave Julius Randle hell, he was also able to be bullied around when Mitchell Robinson was in the paint battling for boards. So that brings into question, how is he going to be when he develops that weight on the defensive end on being able to cover that ground as quickly? Because I think one of the large reasons why he's able to be so excellent defensively is because he's light on his feet. Right? Yeah. So that's also another thing. And then also when you guys are talking about like his post play, like developing, I can't lie to you. This past season, I watched a lot of Cleveland games, more than I wanted to. I did not see too much of a reason for me to look at Evan Mobley and think that he has reason to develop a post game, especially if he plays alongside an elite guard like Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell for the
Where
majority
they're
of his
so
career.
heavily
Like this is
reliant on
not.
the pick and roll.
They're so heavily relying on the pick and roll. It's not really much of a reason for him to develop on the post. Similar to the Joel Embiid problem, where he's been relegated to a pick and roll merchant, or he's been relegated to receiving the ball at the high key. That it's not really much of a reason for him to ever worry about in the offseason developing a post game or developing being able to read double
I don't
teams
know why Joe
consistently.
Embiid needed to just need to
Well,
be
no.
talked
Well,
about
no,
here.
no.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not talking about Joel Embiid right now. I said relative to Joel Embiid, and I'm back on Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I'm just
He
messing with
doesn't
you,
have
Karen.
Yeah, you're just a hater.
Yo,
Okay,
Zeno.
that's what I'm
He's so
saying.
defensive, bro. Zeno, yo, get on
Yeah, like
so
you bring
defensive.
up a 76ers player in a negative light, and they just be like, no. Which, by the way, it's not even a negative light because I think that these are all things. This is all a hypothetical. But this past season, and even his rookie season, I never saw him like receive the ball in the post and show any signs of like being able of like, oh, I saw that move. That was a nice move. Anytime he saw it, he looked out of place. He looked like he was uncomfortable doing it.
Fair point.
And so it's really his game is like it's more questions than answers for me. I think the only one that has no question is his defensive like ability, like what he has the possibility to become on that end. I don't think there's any question. I think the main questions are his offensive ability when he gains this weight. How is he going to look? How is that going to impact his offense and defense? Also, quiet as kept. His playmaking just needs to get a tad bit better. It does not have to be like Jokic. It does not have to be even like Sabonis or Bams. It just needs to be like just like a little above average or just average because like quiet as kept, he's like falling at like Jaren Jackson Jr., Anthony Davis playmaking level, where it's like it's getting a little nasty out here. I'm just letting you know that. It's getting a little nasty out here. He's turning over the ball like at like I want to say for every assist he gets, he turns over the ball like twice.
Yikes.
So yeah, so like he already doesn't get a lot of assists, so that should tell you where it should be. So but yeah, that's it on that.
Okay, last but not least, Nicholas Claxton. So what's your opinion on Nicholas Claxton, guys? I won't go first this time.
Nick Clax.
Yeah.
Perimeter, I really think as a perimeter defender, he could. His versatility, I do think right now is a little bit overrated right now, but I do think he could become what they think that he could be, as in a perimeter defender that could switch. Now as a interior defender, I really like him as an interior defender. I seen spurts of it when in 21. I always thought that he could have been a lot better than what he displayed, especially in 21. I can't give you no ranking on him, but he's really good.
His defense, no, I don't need a ranking for him because you see, the longer we were gonna go on this, the more I was gonna say don't worry about ranking because some of these players you just really can't think about it right now. That their talent doesn't show you enough for them
the
to brag about.
right? The way
exactly.
Yeah.
So Nick Claxton, what's your opinion on his peak defensively? That's what I want you to end off with.
As in like an all-time?
You can say in the league, like this generation, or you can say all-time as well. But I don't think he's shown enough to go all-time. That's why you didn't see me talk about Trey all-time or talk about certain players.
He could be a top three defender. Okay. And I really think he could stay there for a good little minute. In a 2-year period, he could be a top 3 defender.
Only 2 years, okay.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be somebody that's gonna come out as better. I don't know why.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean
nice nigga, dog. But yeah, Karen.
Oh, I guess Nick Claxton. I think he'll be one of the better lob threats in the league. One of the better rim protectors in the league. I do think he needs to gain more muscle because he was getting pushed around by Joel Embiid. That's one thing.
That's Joel Embiid.
That is Joel
That's
Embiid. But then again, there's other bigs in the league that could come in. There are also other guys that are going to be strong as well, like Jalen Duren. He's very big, and Evan Mobley. He gets more muscle, but I think he's going to be already one of the best defensive players in the league. I'm not really. Yeah, I'm not gonna give him a rank. I just think he needs to develop an offensive game in free throw shooting because his touch and free throw shooting is kind of like ooh. But yeah,
that shit's nasty, stinky. You right. But yeah, context.
Yeah, so for me, Clax, man, I'm super high on Clax. I watch him. Obviously, I live in Brooklyn, so I love his game, man.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, you already know, man. Salute to Brooklyn, man. It's just it's kind of unfortunate. I thought he got in a great position playing with KD and Kyrie and kind of like getting that, that high level experience. Because once you have those guys that you're playing that's on your team, what ends up happening is that the competition and your experience, it kind of like tenfolds, you know what I mean? Because these games become high leverage game because everybody wants to show out. So I think he was gaining a lot of experience. So it's kind of, I feel like it was a missed opportunity. However, I think just playing with Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson, I think he's still going to get those opportunities to shine. He's been working on his shot. I wouldn't rely on it. That's not something that I think that's going to be part of his game. I think he's going to be really much more so like a face-up big kind of rim run, kind of catch it. Pretty nimble. He kind of Euro steps here and there. Has some great mobility. I think the defensive thing is what is his calling card. And it's funny that you say that, Casual, in terms of I see kind of like Hakeem-esque skill set in terms of lateral quickness, but then still being able to rim protect. Not to the same, obviously. Now, hear me out. He's not the same rim protector that Hakeem is. No way, no shape.
Good.
But what I do see is the versatility, right? Being able not to get beat off the dribble too bad, right? Being able to kind of recover, foot speed. You know what I mean? Like kind of like he can like rotate his body and swivel his hips. So where he gets beat,
I wasn't even gonna say anything.
Right? Swivel his hips so that way, if he's on one side of the court, he can kind of like quick stop and go to the other side of the court and kind of like recover. You know what I mean? And clean up a lot of the defenses. Obviously, he's gonna be playing with Mikal Bridges, so that's gonna help him. He's not gonna have as many like easy rim drives. I think Brooklyn's gonna be middle of the pack defensively, but himself, I think he's gonna put up. He's going to be in the conversation for DPOY.
You think they're going to be in the middle of the pack? I think they have enough defensive talent to really make a push. So
what I mean by middle of the pack, I mean they're going to be teetering between like maybe like highest I have them is 9.
The defensive and
lowest I have them is probably like 13th. So that's what I mean by middle of the pack. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's potential for them to be in the upper tier. It just depends on is Ben Simmons gonna play? Like, how did that turn out? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, what happens with that? Because I feel like with Ben Simmons, now we're talking a completely different defensive team. You know what I mean? If he's locked in, as far as helping on the weak side, I think that's gonna make Claxton look even more better because now he can really focus on rim protecting. And I think that's where his skill set. I think he's a great jumper. I think he's a great second jumper too. I think he just needs to work more so, like he said, just a little bit more mass, so that way he doesn't get moved out the way from time to time, so that way he can get some more rebounds and establish himself as a better rebounder. And I think once he establishes himself as a better rebounder, then we're gonna really have those conversations of DPOY. I think he could sneak get up DPOY throughout his career. I think it's gonna be super hard, but I think he could probably get one DPOY, possibly, as peak. So yeah, I'm super high on him. I just don't think the offense is just ever going to translate. I think he's going to be too much of just like a rim run guy. And then once the athleticism goes away, it's kind of like, yeah, you're here for just screens. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I'm super high defensively on him. I think he's going to be like top 3 defensive player throughout the league. I think it's going to be Evan Mobley. Probably, I think it's going to be a conversation between him and Kessler Walker, because I think Kessler Walker is going to be up there too. So I think it's going to be between. This is how I rank the defensive guys. It's going to be.
Kessler Walker's crazy.
Yeah, Kreska. I was sat here waiting for him to change to fix what he said, but he didn't. So I was just gonna be all right.
He did.
No, he did. He couldn't.
No.
But
so this is why, and this is why I say Kessler Walker, right? So I feel like Triple J is never going to be disciplined defensively.
Oh no. We have nothing to do with what you're actually saying. It's the name. You called him Kessler Walker, not Walker Kessler.
Oh shit.
No, bro, carry on.
Yeah, I'm probably cool.
We're just
Walker. Yeah. I hate you. So, So for me, it will be those 3, and then Triple J would be, will round out between 4. I just don't think that Triple J. I think talent is there, but I just don't think he's going to have the mental fortitude to remain defensively sound. I think we're just going to keep seeing the flashes. Obviously, he's going to win DPOY because of the flashes, but I just don't think. I think Kessler Walker is just going to be. I mean, Walker Kessler is going to be more defensively sound. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
I'm not gonna lie to you. To be honest with you, like it might be a hot take. I don't know. I don't know too many Jaren Jackson Jr. fans. I think like after like what's happened this during the FIBA tournament and what happened during the playoffs, I don't think Jaren Jackson Jr. will really be considered for most for
DPOY
defensive player of the year for. I won't say anymore. No. I'm not saying anymore. I'm not saying anymore. I'm saying like in the near future.
In the near future, yeah.
In the near future, because I think like
you might have to build back that resume up just a little bit.
Exactly, because I think his defensive player of the year this past year like was a little like skeptical anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey,
so I think it's not hating. It's facts.
It's facts. These is facts.
Hey, but when I start getting into my what's called my Tyrese Halliburton bag,
that was pure hate. That was pure hate.
But
might be racially motivated. We don't know.
Racially motivated is insane.
No, but I'm saying like if Evan Mobley develops like how we think he will develop, right? AD still has like a few years like in his belt. Right. Giannis is still around. You still have players like Herb Jones who hasn't even reached his defensive peak. We haven't spoken about him. If we're talking defense, like it's just too many people that can come along that could disrupt whatever love affair Jaren Jackson Jr. has defensively, like with the voters.
I mean, Victor puts
on
some weight.
That could play a role in the near future.
I had love affair, and I just wanted to zone out so hard. Jesus Christ! No way did you just say love affair, man? Come on.
Well, when voters vote for these players for like their award, it is like a love affair that they sort of build like in their game.
I agree. That does happen. That tends to happen, Xeno. That definitely.
Of course you're defending this guy.
No, that's true. It's true. We can't escape these facts. We can't escape the facts.
A new duo?
I'm the nasty one.
You're nasty.
Yeah, I'm the nasty one. Not this guy trying to push the propaganda of duos, but okay, we right. You're right. I'm the bad guy. That is crazy to me specifically, but okay.
W hoes. You just gotta let it rock.
Gotta let it rock. All right. But yeah, is anyone else has anything to say about this?
The only thing which is weird, right? I just want to just touch this point, right? It's weird for me to see how the league is going to maneuver. Are they going to follow the Jokic blueprint? I think that might play a part in moving forward. Just watching how the landscape changes offensively and defensively, I think that might have a change. We might have to relook at this, maybe whether it be in a year or from now or 2 years from now. We may have a completely different criteria, right? Just because of how
somebody eating chips.
Yes,
of
course, Devon himself.
You know what I mean? So yes,
I was being thug.
I think circumstances might change. If there's any other rule changes that might affect defensive players, you know what I mean? Like, so it's super interesting. I think we should definitely, when we do the part 2, just talk about, before we get into like the players, just talk about the circumstances that could potentially change, you know what I mean, like how we view the players moving forward. Because like you just brought up, Casual, you brought up a great point with Triple J, like this showing out, I mean, it's gonna it casts some doubt now in voters. They're gonna look at you, they're gonna put you under the microscope and then say, well, did you really improve? Like, are you really a DPOY? You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's super dope.
Facts.
All right, so now we've reached to the end. It's time to say goodbye. I'm sorry, guys, but okay,
Yes,
let me be serious for the ending part.
I actually
thank
thought
you.
you were going to say it right there.
No, I wasn't. I was about to start singing. Hey, coach.
Oh no,
right.
not
All right, but let's be real. Thank you all for coming through the context. Dev, Moo, Justin. This is episode 2
before we wrap the show up. I just want to say thank you guys, like you guys specifically, for coming to our platform tonight. Like that meant a lot to Xeno. Xeno won't speak on it, but we were trying to get this show going. So like the fact that you guys came through and completed it, like thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Bro, that's why we
always.
here, man.
Do you think it's
That's
a great
why
idea to say
we got
this
to
while
do
we're
it.
on
Play the violin. Play the violin.
No, but nah, for real.
No, for real though.
Whenever you guys want to come up, man, you guys are more than welcome. Thank you.
W spokesman, by the way, man. That's crazy.
Xeno wasn't gonna say none of that. He wasn't gonna say none of that.
The crazy thing is, I was actually going to say this afterwards. Hey,
no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
I promise I would say that, and I don't say promise all the time.
He was gonna definitely just text it to us in the Discord. He's just gonna say, "Thank you guys."
Actually, dead ass was gonna say us after I ended this stream. Why are we still here? Anyways, thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for coming through.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, this was interesting. Why is June Thug coming? Okay, wait, 1 second. Yep.
Stop.
Hello, June Thug. We're about to end the stream, so there's no real reasons for you to be here.
My boy June Wave.
Bro, I just came over here to say what's up. I was
Bug man
last time, bro, but my fucking everything was missing up. So shit.
Who is you?
No, it's all good. It's all good, June Thug. But yeah, thank you all, guys. Every one of you is a 3-hour stream. Yo, I did not think this was gonna take 3 hours, but we have some Anthony Edwards stands in here, so you know how that went. Thank you all, guys.
Hey, man, W content, man. Listen, you can clip this up, go crazy, man. Go crazy, man.
Catch you guys later. Next week is gonna be part 2, so don't worry about that. In a bit.
Just hit me up, yo. I'm with it. I'm definitely tapped in, man. Salute you guys. I'm definitely gonna be tapped in. I'm definitely gonna subscribe and lock in. You know what I'm saying? And whenever you guys need me, I'm here.
Woo! What the hell was that?